What's up out there? So you already know. I'm just looking to see if anything news happens. So let me get it pulled up here.
The U.S.-Iran ceasefire hanging on by a thread as both sides trade attacks, with U.S. forces launching a new set of defensive strikes overnight.
But the president is still pushing for diplomacy and says he won't rush into a bad deal with Tehran.
Right. So what's going on and who are we talking to? Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Trey, more fighting.
Good morning.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. A significant development overnight after Iran launched drones toward a commercial vessel attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. A U.S. official tells Fox News that 4 one-way attack drones posed a threat and were shot down. Then a strike was also conducted against a control station near the city of Bandar Abbas that was about to launch a 5th drone. In response, the Iranians launched a drone and missile attack against Kuwait, targeting a U.S. base there, according to Iran's IRGC. Now, the Kuwaitis confirmed an attack on their territory that did trigger sirens. The exchange of fire comes amid efforts to reach a deal between the United States and Iran. President Trump spoke from the White House on Wednesday, saying he would only accept a great deal and he would not be comfortable with Iran exporting their highly enriched uranium to China or Russia.
Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but now we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job.
We're also tracking developments in the conflict between Israel and Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah. The IDF launched a series of heavy strikes overnight, targeting the southern city of Tyre and further north in Sidon. After evacuation orders were given, at least 8 people were killed in southern Lebanon.
In this strike, I feel for the people who left their homes and livelihoods and came seeking shelter. This building that was hit had 6 apartments occupied by poor families who had fled from the south to escape the attacks there, only to be hit here.
An Israeli soldier was also killed yesterday in the northern part of this country. Hezbollah is using fiber optic drones, making it difficult for the Israelis to intercept the incoming fire. Guys?
All right. Thanks so much, Trey. Appreciate it. And of course, right now, there's no way for them to stop those drones. So they're quickly getting the tech team in Israel to find a way to, because they're getting right through.
And back here at home, the oil prices yesterday went down. Both of the major benchmarks, which is the one in West Texas, the WTI, and the Brent crude, went down by more than $4. So it's down to $5 per barrel. The oil price surge, they say, according to the White House, is temporary. So be patient. Here's the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent.
In terms of prices, I believe the prices are transitory. Oil will be lower than pre-conflict levels when this ends. Natural gas is already down, as you mentioned. Drug and pharmaceutical prices, they are plummeting, and rent is down. We are more resilient to energy price fluctuations due to your energy dominance agenda, to regulatory efforts, and we have never sold so much energy to the rest of the world.
So the president is acknowledging the pain that some Americans are feeling. And he realized that it may have some impact on the midterms, but he feels very strongly about not blinking when it comes to this, because that's what Iran has essentially had their entire military strategy based on. They realize they can't beat us, but they only beat us and defeat us if the president blinks. And he's saying that he has to do the right thing for the country, right thing for the world. And he's not so much worried about in the next 5-6 years what Iran is going to do. He's saying if another president comes in, they're going to come out swinging against us.
Right. So the economists expect inflation to be, there was a 3.8. They want, it's up from 2.5. They expect it to be somewhere around 3.3. And it's really all because of energy. They do see the country continuing to grow at about 2%. It would be higher if it wasn't for oil and gas prices in this conflict. But just keep in mind, if we leave it the way it is right now, Hezbollah gradually gets funded again. Hamas gets funded again. We're going to continue to see the unrest in the Arab world. And people are wondering when Iran is going to get that nuclear weapon. So it would just be delayed and then back to the same old storyline of what's Iran doing? Where is inspections? This seems to me to heading to a pathway of what Saddam Hussein was doing in 91 to 93, kicking out inspectors, lying about what they were doing, hiding in certain places, and that ended up being in war. I think the president sees that and wants to put an end to that. And I'll tell you, I think the IRGC is trying to provoke an end to the talks. Why else would you be throwing drones into merchant ships and looking out? We're not going to allow that. And then, of course, we're going to take out the launchers. So to me, the president and the foreign minister are talking here. The IRGC wants to fight again.
Well, the president of Iran and many of the other leaders, they want to live. They realize that they're the next. If the fighting begins, there's going to be a multiple prong attack approach. And the first people that are going to go out are going to be those leaders. This is the third batch of leaders. And so they don't want to die.
Yeah. And the president was asked about the erroneous reports because they have state-run television over there, or they have state-run reports and news. And they're trying to say that the U.S. is withdrawing our forces from the immediate vicinity. They're trying to say that they are restoring commercial shipping in the Straits with Iran and Oman, and they are managing the traffic. And the president said this is a complete fabrication. And don't forget the U.S. military. We have 15,000 troops enforcing that blockade in Iran. We have thousands of additional forces at bases in that region, including the UAE, including Qatar, including Bahrain. We also have naval vessels. We always put up that image of all of the ships that we have in that area. We have lots of naval vessels with thousands of sailors and Marines on board.
We're going to see what's going to happen shortly. Oman yesterday kind of indicated that they're starting to see a partnership with Iran, and the president made that clear. You're not doing that. We'll bomb you too. And people are horrified by that. But no, this is not a joke. Yeah, you don't just because you're scared and you're showing weakness. They already bombed you once. We didn't bomb you. We have bases with you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Have you seen the average auto insurance rate in Georgia?
Oh no, I'm just kind of curious, man. After Matt said that yesterday about testing the uranium to see if it come from America, that shit kind of made sense to me. And dude, if that is true,
all right, this is a Fox News alert. The U.S. continues to launch powerful strikes against Iranian attack drones that are threatening the Strait of Hormuz. Central Command took down 4 drones today, eliminated a 5th before it could be launched. President Trump held a cabinet meeting at the White House today where he shared an update on the situation in Iran and spoke about the possibility of a true and lasting peace in the Mideast. Take a look.
Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Everything's gone, and they're negotiating on fumes. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it. Maybe we don't. I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign. You want to know the truth? If they don't sign to join the Abraham Accords, I don't know that we have countries in there already. UAE, great countries, bold countries. And it's turned out to be so good, so effective. And so we're, requesting strongly that they join. It'll be great. It'd be great for Saudi Arabia. It'd be great for Qatar.
As South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham pointed out on X earlier today, peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia would be the single biggest change in the Middle East in thousands of years. And if anyone can get it done, it is President Donald J. Trump. Here with more, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. First of all, I guess after Cassidy in Louisiana and Cornyn and Massey, I guess it's probably a really good thing that Donald Trump again gave you multiple full-throated endorsements for your campaign. And let the truth be told, I think you played golf and, or you play golf with the president more than any single senator alive. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, because I always lose. I get invited back. So if you get nothing else out of this interview, Donald Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham. My primary is June 9th. Let's don't break his streak. So let's stand with President Trump. Let's keep his endorsement streak alive. And I am honored to have his endorsement. I've worked well with him, and I think he's the most consequential president in my lifetime. And he's cleaning up Biden's messes. Stephen Miller, who's the architect of the most secure border in the history of the country, led by President Trump's sheer will to make it secure, left out something. Donald Trump is dealing with a mess that Biden created for the world when he withdrew from Afghanistan. Russia invaded Ukraine, not on Trump's watch, but Biden's watch. Obama and Biden screwed Iran up, and Donald Trump is fixing it. Obama gave Iran tens of billions of dollars, and they took the money and they started building nuclear uranium with it, weapons grade material. Biden reversed all of Trump's policies when he took over, and Donald Trump stopped Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. They're the weakest they've been since 1979. They're on the verge of a peace deal because they're weak. And what Donald Trump said, President Trump said about Saudi Arabia and Israel, if you get nothing out of this interview other than Trump endorsed me, if he can pull this off, if he can get Saudi Arabia, the center of Islam for the entire world, to recognize the Jewish state Israel, he will have ended the Arab-Israeli conflict that's been going on for thousands of years. They should change the Nobel Prize to the Trump Prize. If he can do that, and I think he can, it's the biggest change in the history, in the modern history, and in the ancient history of the Mideast, where the Arabs and the Jews live together, where it becomes a center of power economically, not a powder keg. And once you put Iran in a box, and he's going to do that, we're going to have peace between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Nobody thought that was possible. I believe it's possible. And there's one guy can do it, Donald Trump.
I don't think people really realize the extent. Weren't you the first person after 2020 to say, you've got to try this a third time? Would Justice Kavanaugh be on the bench if it wasn't for the relationship that you had with President Trump to fight for Justice Kavanaugh? Would the one big, beautiful reconciliation bill have passed, the largest tax cut in history, had you not had that relationship that is very close with President Trump? Or all of these discussions about the Abraham Accords, you've been saying this and you've been talking to the president about this for how long?
For almost a year. Now, President Biden tried to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords. And what are we talking about? Recognizing the Jewish state, making peace with Israel. But he didn't make it. October the 7th stopped that process. Once you put Iran in a box, and they're the weakest they've been since 1979, to all those who criticizing President Trump, what the hell did you do about Iran? On a Biden's watch and Obama's watch, Iran became rich and lethal. On Trump's watch, they're becoming poor and weaker. That's the difference between Obama, Biden, and Trump. Poor, rich, strong, weak. The big prize on the table in the Mideast, and really is for the world, is can you get the center of Islam, Saudi Arabia, to recognize the Jewish state? I think Trump can do that. And what happened?
I know you're in contact with all of the countries in the Middle East. Are you getting any indication?
My phone's been ringing off the hook.
Sir?
My phone is ringing off the hook. My phone is ringing off the hook because he said I should link the two. He's saying to the Arabs, look what I've done for you. He saved MBS. He's the best friend Israel's ever had. Everybody in the region should rally around the idea of adding Saudi Arabia and other countries to the Abraham Accords. It would change the makeup of the Mideast in a way that nobody could envision just a year ago. It would change the Mideast for the better, the biggest change in thousands of years. To our Arab allies, you need to help President Trump. You need to embrace the fact that it's now time to end the Arab-Israeli conflict, make peace with Israel, build on the Abraham Accords. And if you say no to him, you say no at your own peril. Look what he's done for the Arab world. Look what he's done to your biggest enemy, Iran. Look how he stood by you when other people were going to abandon you. As to our friends in Israel, you have no better friend than Donald Trump. Quite frankly, Donald Trump, you owe it to him. You owe it to your people.
Hey, Jim,
you owe
good
it
morning.
to the world to do what he's asking you to do. Build on the Abraham Accords. I've never been more optimistic than I am right now. My phone's been ringing off the hook. President Trump, stay on this. You're right to want to expand the Abraham Accords. You can do this.
All right. Did you mention, by the way, that Donald Trump endorsed you and he gave you a full-throated endorsement, multiple? I'm just kidding. Anyway, Lindsey Graham, we appreciate you being
June
with
9th. Thank you, pal.
us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see what they're talking about. Only problem is most of these
basically
fucking
freedom.
news
It's a
clips
giant open
yesterday,
universe
but
where
they
you
put them
can-
out like they're fresh and
The fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran technically still holding this morning, even as the two nations launched new strikes. A U.S. official confirms American forces shot down 4 Iranian drones and hit a ground control center that threatened the Strait of Hormuz in the port city of
why don't they
Bandar
just call
In
this like it
response,
is? If both of them's firing at one another, that's not a ceasefire. It's just a soft attack. That's all it is. It's not a fucking ceasefire.
Iran said it attacked a U.S. military airbase. Around the same time, Kuwait reported that it was responding to a drone and missile attack.
We can make a good deal right now, but maybe not a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, we're not making it.
President Trump dialed up the pressure on Tehran
We
during a
heard that
cabinet.
shit yesterday.
All right. This is a Fox News alert. The U.S. continues.
But I guess no news is good news,
The
correct?
fragile ceasefire.
Get out of this fucking.
The U.S. has carried out new strikes against Iran as Kuwait has faced new drone and missile attacks overnight.
As Doug Luzato reports from Washington this morning, the latest moves threaten an already shaky ceasefire agreement. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, good morning. U.S. officials confirmed the shootdown of several Iranian attack drones, as well as an attack on a ground control station there, even as the president cites progress to end the war.
Thank you very much. We have a lot of very happy people around the table because we're a great team.
The president with another freewheeling cabinet meeting saying Iran wants a deal.
And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
The man on his left, War Secretary Pete Hegseth. But the president also with a new threat to Oman, with reports that Iran wants to jointly control access to the Strait of Hormuz with that country.
Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up.
At the same time, economic and political pressures are mounting here at home, something Iran knows well.
I'm sure the Russians and the Chinese are giving them behind-the-scenes accounts from their own intelligence reporting on the extent to which the United States is deeply concerned.
The president dismissed political concerns.
They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night.
That was a reference to the victory of his preferred candidate in a Texas Senate primary runoff race in Texas. But the midterms will be a different challenge.
This president is a political animal. Of course, he cares about the midterms. Of course, he's thinking about the midterms. My sense was in that comment, he was saying to the Iranians, don't think that you have me over the barrel here because I'm not going to be pressured.
Still, those pressures are real, and they are a growing concern for Republicans here on Capitol Hill, with those midterms bearing down. Back to you guys.
All right, Doug Luzato live in Washington with the latest for us this morning. Thank you, Doug.
Meantime, Israeli military action is also complicating peace deals with Iran. Israel and Hezbollah are trading fire as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the IDF is advancing farther into Lebanon. Now, despite a ceasefire, Hezbollah vowing to keep fighting until Israel stops the bombing and troops leave. Israel says operations will continue until Hezbollah is no longer a threat. This comes as a joint Israeli-Lebanese delegation is set to meet in Washington to talk about peace tomorrow.
Fears of potential U.S. military action continue to grow in Cuba, causing some of its leaders to call for international help. Cuban lawmakers sent an official letter to nearby countries warning a potential conflict could have a larger impact on the region. This comes as U.S.
What nearby countries? Nothing's near there.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio warns the island nation remains a national security threat.
Legisladores internacionales.
Support and public statements have been sought for the just and legitimate cause of the Cuban people.
It's 90 miles from our shores, and having a failed state 90 miles from our shores is a threat to the national security of the United States.
And Cuban lawmakers also say that they are willing to engage in dialogue with the U.S. to help ease tensions. While no talks have been planned yet, Secretary Rubio says he remains hopeful that a good outcome can be reached for the
I'm just
good
getting
of the
updates on
Cuban
what's
people.
going on.
Just flipping over to 536 here this morning. In meantime, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is asking for more help from the U.S. He wrote to Congress and President Trump asking for more American-made defense ammunition to counter missile attacks from Russia. The Russian military has intensified its aerial attacks, firing almost 90 missiles and hundreds of drones at Kyiv this past weekend. Zelensky says Ukraine cannot produce its own anti-missile defense system and relies almost exclusively on the United States.
Tom Ogre drove 200 miles on only 2 gallons of gasoline.
Royal Raymond Rife claimed he could heal cancer using.
Against the backdrop of a fragile ceasefire, Iran claims it shot down a U.S. Reaper drone following the U.S. military launching self-defense strikes on Iran. Now, Iran's supreme leader warned in a statement airing on Iranian state television other Gulf nations should no longer serve as shields for American bases. So let's go live to Eric Loeb. He's an associate professor of politics and international relations at Florida International University, or FIU, as I knew it when I lived in Miami. Thank you so much for
I bet
joining
he
us
does
today.
want America out of there so he can do exactly what he did at the beginning of the war, attacking other countries around him that didn't do shit to him.
We have not seen the supreme leader. There's a lot of speculation about whether he's even able to lead. So will
When
these
the
other
bully
Gulf
gets
states
bullied, boy, they
heed
don't
that
like that
warning
shit,
that was
do they?
posted and broadcast about not aiding the U.S.?
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you. I think that the Arab Gulf states are quite concerned about this latest escalation, given that they've been on the front lines of this war since it started back in February 3 months ago, and that they've sustained damage to their energy and civilian infrastructure by Iranian missiles and drones, and do not want to see that happen again since the ceasefire in early April. And so as these events are unfolding, they're listening to these statements regardless of the health of the supreme leader. And we are seeing that there is diplomatic activity to try to de-escalate tensions in Qatar and other Arab Gulf states and move towards this 60-day framework agreement that's being discussed between the United States and Iran.
We're also seeing the dance. The Trump administration signals that things are on the rails, going well, that they look to be optimistic for a good deal or no deal. We've heard that from the president and from Marco Rubio. And yet it seems like we're not advancing, at least in any measurable way that we can see as the American public. What is, in your mind, the red line for a holdup and not getting this deal signed, sealed, and delivered?
Well, these negotiations revolve around a series of issues, starting with the...
Oh, shut the fuck up. You ain't doing nothing
The U.S. has carried out new strikes against Iran.
already. Every one of these motherfuckers act like they got some brand new, fresh information.
The fragile ceasefire between the U.S.
That's the most aggravating thing, man. When you're trying to figure out what's going on, and you got all these talking fucking heads just repeating herself.
in Iran.
But I guess that's their job.
Right, this is a Fox News.
Make it where you can't figure out what the fuck's going on for real. I don't know. When that dude Matt TV said that yesterday, I couldn't help but wonder if that shit was true. Let's see what Dave's got to say. He just dropped the video.
28th,
Pretty
the
accurate.
United States military has launched massive strikes in Iran following an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz with vessels. This situation heating up. We have strike footage released by all sides showing the impact of the American bombs in Bandar Abbas, Iran. So we're going to break it all down, get into what we know, what had happened, the Iranians launching multiple attacks of their own as well. So this situation is hot, hot, hot. But before we get into it, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys nothing at all. Huge, huge boost to the channel. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Do you support the United States firing off new strikes in Iran? What do you think about Iran launching more ballistic missiles? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the notification bell. All notifications on. You won't miss a thing. And then Instagram, David_Hookstead, XDHookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Reach out with whatever you got. Now, let's get into it.
Traditional orthodontics marketing is dead. Yeah. So I read about this orthodontist, Dr. Buttram.
So I want to put this up on the screen. So this came out last night on May 27th. Multiple reports coming out that explosions ripping through the Iranian coastal city of Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas is a major naval hub for Iran. It got hit hard. It got hit routinely. It got hit heavy during the active weeks when the war was at its peak. So these reports started coming out. Right here, more explosions heard in Bandar Abbas on the night Wednesday, May 27th. And then right here, the Iranians announcing that U.S. forces fired at the area around Bandar Abbas after IRGC confronted a U.S. oil tanker trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz. So the Iranians targeted U.S. ships or other ships in the Strait of Hormuz, opened up on them. The United States responding with overwhelming force. We are going to get into the videos of that here shortly. Barak Ravid with more details. A senior U.S. official said Iran fired one-way attack drones at a U.S. commercial ship. The U.S. military shot down the drones and attacked another Iranian drone launching unit on the ground before it launched, the official added. So this is footage of Bandar Abbas getting hit. Let's watch. See flashes in the sky, bomb impacts.
That looked like I seen one of them coming through the air.
You can hear the fighter jets in the air. Right there, big explosions. So the bombs are falling. Fighter jets are overhead. So this also, I just want to make the point. This also goes to show that this ceasefire, which I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks ever since it first started, is a complete and total joke. This ceasefire isn't even worth the language, the words, the paper, whatever you want to say. This is a complete and total joke. And the fact that both sides continue to exchange shots goes to prove that it is. Now, Iran responding with a massive attack on Kuwait. So they went after our ships. We shot down the drones. We then attacked the launching areas. Iran immediately responds with a mass scale attack against the U.S. ally of Kuwait, saying Kuwaiti air defenses are currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks. So ballistic missiles in the air fired by Iran at Kuwait, saying the general staff of the army notes that any explosion sounds heard are the result of air defense systems intercepting the hostile attack. Everyone is requested to adhere to the security and safety instructions issued by the competent authorities. So Iran unleashing on Kuwait following the U.S. strikes that followed the Iranian strikes on the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Are we all having fun with the ceasefire? It seems to be going great, doesn't it? This is a look at an interception in the sky of Kuwait of likely what is an Iranian drone. Generally, when you intercept the ballistic missile, which we know were fired, you get a much, much larger explosion than that. Now, this is footage released by the Iranians. Again, always be careful with this stuff. But this is the footage the Iranians released of their mass scale attack on Kuwait. Let's watch. I have to mute the audio, but okay, so we got one missile up. One missile is up. Second missile is up. So they are releasing videos showing multiple missile launches towards Kuwait. Third missile off.
Only problem is you don't know if this shit's AI or not, because
That's
Iran
3
is
ballistic
steadily
missiles.
releasing AI shit.
Per the IRGC footage. So again, are we all having fun with the ceasefire? Seems to be going great, as now we have more ballistic missile launches. And then right here, U.S. Central Command announcing the morning of May 28th at 10:17 p.m. Eastern on May 27th, Iran launched a ballistic missile towards Kuwait that was successfully intercepted by Kuwaiti forces. This egregious ceasefire violation by the Iranian regime occurred hours after Iranian forces launched 5 one-way attack drones that posed a clear threat in and near the Strait of Hormuz. All drones were successfully intercepted by U.S. forces, which also prevented a six drone launch from an Iranian ground control site in Bandar Abbas. U.S. Central Command and regional partners remain vigilant and measured as we continue to defend our forces and from unjustified Iranian aggression. So that is confirmation coming from CENTCOM that ballistic missiles were indeed launched. And then right here at this time, we in Beirut, things are getting very, very hot in Lebanon. We're going to go full screen here. Give me a second to get this teed up. So the Israelis carrying out strikes in Lebanon at this hour in what is believed to be a targeted assassination of an unknown individual at this hour. And then right here, more footage showing another strike in Lebanon on a vehicle. You can see the mass explosion on your screen there. And then lastly, the Iranians also just released footage of what is allegedly a U.S. cruise missile being shot down. But again, guys, when it comes to these air defense videos the Iranians release, always take them with a grain of salt. I do believe the drone shoot down footage was authentic. The fighter jet footage, a lot of you think that it could have been fake. I think it's very possible it was fake. This is allegedly of a cruise missile. Let's watch. So you can see the missile right there. And then here, I don't even know what that is coming in. If you do, let me know in the comments. That didn't stop the cruise missile. This one comes in and hits it again per video released by the IRGC. So as of me filming this on May 28th, the United States has launched a massive new wave of attacks on Bandar Abbas following the targeting of a vessel in the Strait of Hormuz.
So negotiations with Iran could be nearing a breaking point, as President Trump says, Tehran, they're running on fumes.
So it comes as Iran claims an attack overnight on a U.S. airbase in the Gulf region.
And Madeline Rivera is live at the White House this morning with the latest for us. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, good morning, guys. Well, over the weekend, President Trump said a deal with Iran was largely negotiated. Now he says talks aren't quite there yet, but he still says an agreement is within reach.
Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but now we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job.
Y'all remember when
But the Navy is gone, as I've said 1,000 times. The Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Everything's gone, and they're negotiating on fumes.
Perhaps complicating matters this morning, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says it targeted a U.S. airbase in what CENTCOM calls an egregious ceasefire violation. And CENTCOM says Iran launched a ballistic missile toward Kuwait that was successfully intercepted by Kuwaiti forces. Iran calls it retaliation after U.S. forces shot down 5 Iranian one-way attack drones over the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. says it also hit an Iranian ground control station in Bandar Abbas before it could launch a 6th drone. Both nations are warning of more aggressive action if necessary. President Trump is threatening Iran and Oman if they strike a deal to control the Strait of Hormuz as well. And he's brushing off concerns that he's facing political pressure from the midterms, maintaining Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says they'll see if they can make progress in the coming days.
Now, the president's preference, Mr. President, your preference has told us repeatedly, is always to negotiate these things and to figure out if you can have agreements. Diplomacy is always the first option. And we continue to work on that through your envoys, Mr. Woodcock and Kushner and others, the vice president, who've been very involved. And if there's an agreement to be made, we want that to be made.
And regarding Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, the president says he's not comfortable with Russia or China taking it. Lawrence Ainsley and Brian.
Thanks so much, Manny. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So they got we shoot some 1,000 pounds of uranium. What's going to happen?
Because they've already got their own. So what would it matter unless there's that's starting to feel more like really what's going on. He wanted to test it to see where it came from. Let's see what old man talking about this morning. Let's see.
We
what
have got
old
to the
Maduro
point
got.
where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is
Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely shocking news coming out of Europe today over across the Atlantic. You see, one of the European Union's top communist leaders, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, well, he's just had his political headquarters raided, seriously, as a part of a massive corruption and foreign money investigation. Very curious. But now, folks, here's where things get really interesting. You see, as it would seem, Venezuela's former El Dictador, Nicolas Maduro, actually seems to be involved in all of this corruption and fraud going on in Europe. And by the way, keep in mind, right now, Nicolas Maduro is actually sitting in a U.S. federal prison cell up here in the U.S. He's currently in U.S. custody. And yes, all of this is connected. Let's go ahead and break it all down. First off, breaking news this morning. Spanish anti-corruption police have raided the headquarters of Spanish Prime Minister, he's the guy on the left here, Pedro Sanchez's socialist PSOE party. The agents were sent to secure evidence for an ongoing probe into the alleged illegal financing of the country's ruling socialist party, the party of Pedro Sanchez here. The raid comes just days after the socialist former prime minister of Spain, Jose Luis Rodriguez Zapatero, was indicted himself on corruption charges. What's that? Linked to the Venezuelan Maduro regime. Today's raid is linked to an perhaps unrelated investigation overseen by Spain's anti-corruption prosecutor. Unrelated, huh? We'll see about that. Many in the closest circle around PM Sanchez, including his wife and brother, are already also under criminal investigation for, you guessed it, corruption. Let's go through the list. His wife, Begonia Gomez, well, formally charged with corruption and influence peddling. A Madrid judge is investigating whether she used her position as the prime minister's spouse to secure sponsors for a university master's degree course that she directed. David Sanchez, his brother, has now been indicted and scheduled to stand trial for malfeasance, fraud, and influence peddling. The probe centers on accusations that a public coordinator job in Badajoz was custom tailored for him. The job was made for him. Jose Luis Abelos, the former transport minister of the socialist regime here. This is Sanchez's former right-hand man, a powerful socialist party heavyweight. He's currently awaiting a verdict following his trial for allegedly receiving kickbacks on public contracts for medical protective equipment during the pandemic. Oh, he was scalping money off of the top of the sale of medical equipment during the global pandemic. How particularly scummy. Santos Cerdán, the former right-hand man and party secretary, one of Sanchez's closest political associates and former second highest ranking Socialist Party official, is under investigation similarly for allegedly handling over 100,000 euros in illegal payments related to public infrastructure procurements, stealing money off the top. Colda Garcia, his former advisor, a former close aide to Abelos, who is under criminal prosecution for serving as the central intermediary in the pandemic-era public contract kickback ring. The scandals now have grown so big amongst the Spanish Socialist Party that there is now talk about the government having to resign and hold snap elections this year. Pedro Sanchez is effed, as a matter of fact. Folks, all of this is coming out from the American, by the way, the American government, the Trump administration, is working with the Spanish anti-fraud department to hold these people accountable. Well, the schedule's lining up. Look at this. All of this is coming out from the American government after their Venezuelan raid, and with Maduro now being in custody in the U.S. singing like a songbird. So word on the block is that Maduro, after being apprehended by the Trump administration, by the DOJ, brought back to the U.S., that he is singing like a songbird, pointing the finger at the socialist regime in Spain, saying, yeah, they were working with me. They're corrupt. maybe even rigged elections, not just in the US, but perhaps in Spain and elsewhere in Europe, perhaps. We're about to find out that Pedro and his entire family was financed through sanctioned funds from none other than Venezuela. And then there's this little tidbit right here. People say, put your money where your mouth is. Well, this morning on Polymarket, the betting website, look at this. Breaking. Major socialist corruption scandal might bring snap elections to Spain this year. Moments ago, Spanish anti-corruption police raided the headquarters of the ruling Socialist Party. The likelihood of Prime Minister Sanchez being forced out was at 39% last night. This morning, following this anti-corruption raid, has now risen above 50% or close to 50% this morning. So now, yeah, it seems like the clock is ticking here, tick-tock. But now, folks, while this shutdown of Spain's communist regime, their prime minister, all of this is ultimately a good thing, we also this morning, coming out of Europe, frankly, have some bad, really insane news coming out of Europe as well. In fact, I want you to take a look at this. European news, Belgian nationalist Dries van Langenhove has been convicted of hate speech in Europe this morning for condemning mass migration, despite the court admitting that all of his statements were factual. Wow. So this Belgian nationalist, he's on the right, he's anti-immigration. He said, listen, these immigrants are taking over all of Europe. And he was giving information, bullet points, facts, logic. They found him guilty of hate speech this morning, even though everything he said was absolutely true. And you can only imagine what he said. Crime rates are increasing, stabbings and crime, all of this, right? They said, well, yeah, that might be true, but what you said is hurtful. And so we're going to convict you now. Well, we actually have a statement directly from Herr Langenhove. He actually issued his own statement about all of this morning. And honestly, all of this is so insane that it's actually probably going to blow your mind and also all of this is really going to make you further appreciate a little thing we have over here in the United States. What is it called? The First Amendment. Let's take a look at Langenhove's statement that he released. He said, a very sad announcement. I have just been convicted a second for hate speech, and it is only due to a technicality that I could not immediately be sent to jail, much to the judge's frustration. In a very ironic turn of events, it's actually thanks to my previous prison sentence for hate speech, for memes in a private group chat, no less, that I am now still free in a physical sense, at least. Call me naive, but I didn't think they would take it this far, given that this precedent criminalizes many of the arguments used by even the most moderate politicians who are critical of mass migration in Europe. In February of 2024, I gave a lecture at a Catholic university, Leuven, where I linked mass migration to crime and a deterioration of our quality of life, which is true, objectively true. Every single point I made was 100% the truth and based on scientific evidence. Let me ask you in the audience, in the comment section, does it seem like mass migration facilitates crime and a deterioration of our Western quality of life?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like,
power being used in that area, whether it's in the city of Nabatea or areas around Nabatea, the Ali Tahrir Hills, all these areas, there's believed where Hezbollah has underground tunnels, strategic infrastructure. So, they are broadening their push, really, if
and
you
they
like,
blowing
in
that
southern
place.
Lebanon. And
Peace,
all this pressure is about trying to achieve strategic objectives, which they haven't been able to achieve yet, which is the
years
disarmament of
it will take
Hezbollah. We heard
to
the
clean
Israeli
that shit up, right? Because Lebanon looked like a pretty decent place. I mean, it was fairly built up, and you wonder how it got that way. for everybody to be poor over
say
there.
in a statement this morning to the Lebanese government, instead of disarming and dismantling Hezbollah, you are dragging the country deeper into chaos. So yet
Hey,
another
then.
warning to the Lebanese state, 24 hours before the Lebanese and Israeli militaries are set to meet at the Pentagon in Washington.
Zina Khadra in Beirut, thank you very much for your reporting. Let's pick this up now with Alex Al-Firaz Shears, who's a defense and military analyst, understand what Israel's objectives are in Lebanon. The Israelis have, as we heard from our correspondent, issued forced displacement orders for tens of thousands of people in southern Lebanon and crossed the Litani River. Is the current campaign best understood as a limited ground operation or the opening phase of a broader strategy to reshape the security map along that border?
Yeah, I think the primary objective of the Israelis, certainly in the short term, is to completely neutralize the military threat emanating from Hezbollah. It's struck many targets south of the Litani River, and of course,
These
it's
people
established
been fighting
a
thousands
pretty
and
sizable
thousands
presence,
of
5
years, man.
divisions in the
I
forward
don't see
defense
us doing anything to
line,
stop it,
or
really.
as you've called it, the yellow line.
Kind of wish and hope, but I'm afraid Trump's going to have to send ground troops in. It's about the only thing I see working. You can't just keep bombing these people. Hell, they're underground.
This Memorial Day, save
Unless I'm missing
40% on
something.
indoor and outdoor furniture. From the living room to the back.
I just want to return to our breaking news now. So the Iranian state media is reporting that 3 explosions were heard east of the port city of Bandar Abbas. So Bandar Abbas sits right there on the northern part of the Strait of Hormuz. So reports say that the blasts were heard early on Thursday. It also says air defenses were activated in the city. Authorities are following to determine the origin of those sounds. Now, it's important to note that the U.S. did carry out airstrikes on Iran's southern coast on Monday. The U.S. insisted that those were defensive in nature. And again, the origin of these explosions, we do not know. For more on this, though, we're going to bring in Al Jazeera's Al-Migdad Al-Ruhaid, who joins us now from Tehran over the phone. So, Al-Migdad, what else do we know about these explosions, and what do the authorities say?
Well, actually, this is the second incident within a week, within less than a week, actually, in the vicinity of Bandar Abbas. We have seen that in the past 2 days. Actually, on Monday or Tuesday morning, there were tension rising between the United States forces and also the IRGC. And right now, we have these reports from state TV and Iranian media speak about an hour ago, actually, around 1:30 a.m. local time, that there were like 3 explosions were heard east of the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas, which is in the vicinity of Strait of Hormuz. And as we can remember that in the past 2 days, the IRGC Navy and also the foreign ministers and the foreign ministry actually released a strong wording statement describing that as a violation of ceasefire. And this comes within the heavy talks with the negotiator right now within this week, especially in Doha, and also when that memorandum of understanding released, or actually this afternoon we have a negotiation about that. We have discussions to speak about that. There's a memorandum of understanding. So within this time, Iranian definitely they are seeing that it's an act of war, it's a violation of ceasefire, and also this brings us to the same issue, which is a mistrust between the United States and Iranian and United States right now. We don't have definitely what exact happened there, but it's an area of tension between both sides. We do know that the Strait of Hormuz right now is under control of the IRGC Navy. They are implementing and exercising their what they call the sovereignty and rights to control that strategic waterway. And this is a rising tension comes amid that all negotiation and that talks to bring an end to this war.
Yeah, and of course, the U.S. president insisted on Wednesday that nobody would control the Strait of Hormuz, not the Iranians, not the Omanis. Again, with these explosions, we have still not also heard any comment, any word from the American side. So still a lot of questions to be answered. Al-Migdad Al-Ruhaid will let you get back to working your sources. If you hear anything, please let us know.
I see the last of the recruits have arrived.
Whoa, what is this place?
You are here to be pilots in an elite program called the Armosaurs. The Armosaur program exists to protect our world against the alien threat.
Well, joining us from Singapore is Samir Puri. He's a visiting lecturer in war studies at King's College London. Good to have you with us. So, reports of US tankers trying to sneak through the Strait of Hormuz with radar switched off. Reports of US strikes on Iranian coastal assets. When you put all this together, Samir, is the US trying to undermine Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz? Is that the bottom line here?
Yes, it's trying to show that Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz is control in name, but not in deed. And there is some irony, of course, in US ships or US flagged ships trying to move with their signals turned off. That's, of course, what ships have been doing to try to break sanctions that have been placed on Iran for many years. In terms of trying to, I wouldn't say change facts on the ground, because this is, of course, a maritime space. There's obvious attempts by the US to try to show that Iranian claims to be able to control the Strait of Hormuz are unsustainable. And I think that is also, around the two other big issues that you've been reporting on. One is the exchange of fire, and the other is sanctioning this new Iranian body that's supposedly set up to manage the ships that enter and exit the Strait of Hormuz.
So is this really about gaining more leverage in negotiations?
Leverage is always the currency in which negotiators deal in. There is so much at stake for Iran and for the USA, less so for Israel, which I think, just having brought the US into this war, I think Israel has already got a win. Obviously, Israel will have an interest, but Israel is not party to these negotiations in terms of the mediation that Pakistan is managing. But the leverage, and I think this is very, very important for us to be observing right now and in the coming days and weeks, is who is actually generating a critical mass of leverage to pressure the other side into accepting terms they may otherwise not have wanted to accept.
Okay. Is it possible at this point to draw any conclusion? You said the US is trying to show that Iran is not.
I can't watch that shit anymore.
I just want to return to our break.
I cannot watch that shit right there any fucking more. Senseless. It's fucking senseless. So I was listening to Tucker last night. I didn't listen to him far, but I'm gonna let his shit play right here this morning through Bluetooth. We're just gonna listen to what he's got to say. I know some of you don't like Tucker, and I get it. I truly get it. What's up, Ford? But I do find it important that you kind of listen to all sides if you're trying to get some kind of understanding of what's going on.
The 100% linen curtains for the bedroom. Texture.
Can y'all hear that all right?
Anti-Semitism in this country, around the world, like we've never seen before. Who that?
What she did not say was, you're absolutely right. I wrote a book saying the civilized world can't allow genocide to happen, and then I allowed it to happen. But that's exactly what she did. But what's even more interesting is that she's not alone in this. Everybody knew from the first week after October 7th that Israel planned to commit genocide, traditionally defined genocide, targeting a population because of their bloodline and trying to exterminate or move them. Everyone knew this because Israel announced it. Twice in October of 2023, the prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said out loud in a public speech, the Palestinians are Amalek. Amalek, a reference that many in the West didn't get, but everyone in the region understood. And it's a reference to 1 Samuel 15.
Well, Mr. Coffee, I'll be right back.
You should read, because it tells you a lot about it, about what Israel's doing now. But those verses describe God's command to eliminate a tribe.
Yeah, Copper Top, and you have to kind of listen to everybody to kind of get a picture of what's going on. No, you have to kind of listen with guarded ears, but you still have to pay attention.
Kill all of them, destroy all of their property, slay all of their animals. This is God's command. So when Benjamin Netanyahu describes the Palestinians as Amalek twice in the first month of the Gaza operation, you don't need to guess what the point of this is. The point is to destroy every man, woman, and child and infant in Gaza. And they said about doing that. But it wasn't just Netanyahu who said that. It was a lot of different authorities in Israel. And in fact, as someone who's been keeping a list of this for a while, it might be worth reading them, just so everyone knows this isn't blood libel. It is true. On October 9th, so 3 days after the Hamas attacks, the defense minister of Israel, their own Pete Hegseth, described his plans for Gaza, not for Hamas, for the entire territory, for the over 2 million people who live there. And we're quoting, no electricity, no food will be allowed in. We are fighting human animals, not human beings, human animals. Well, the deputy mayor of Jerusalem that winter responded, not to say, whoa, settle down, defense minister. Calling your opponents animals is, of course, genocidal talk. No, the deputy mayor of Jerusalem thought he didn't go far enough. And he said this: they're not human animals. They're not human beings. They are subhuman. And then he said that the Palestinians of Gaza should be buried alive with bulldozers, which some ultimately apparently were. Ben Gvir, Matt Brooks of the Republican Jewish Coalition, carpet bomb. Cabinet ministers in Israel, supporters of Israel in the United States, making the same case like from the very first day: kill indiscriminately, move them out. There were discussions on the American right about what we should do with those Gazans, the people who live there. Move them to other countries, Egypt, maybe even the United States. Get them out. Kill enough of them that the rest leave. The survivors want to flee. And so the aim was genocidal from the very first day. The Israelis announced it. Israel's supporters in the United States seconded it, amplified it. And members of the U.S. Congress on television, the people who are paying for this genocide, announced proudly, that's right. The Israelis have every right to kill civilians, and that's why we are paying them and giving them weapons to do so. Watch this.
I would encourage the other side to not so lightly throw around the idea of innocent Palestinian civilians, as is frequently said. I don't think we would so lightly throw around the term innocent Nazi civilians during World War II.
In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here.
Many people in this part of the world say what happened in Gaza does not align with Christian values. Killing children, killing mothers,
I'll be honest
killing
with
families
you.
who are not militants.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all.
Why?
Because what did we do in World War II? Did we think 1 minute about starving the Germans? Did we bomb every city into smithereens? So this is a war. No,
October 7th to World War II.
Yes, I am. This is an absolute existential threat to the Jewish people. We flattened Berlin. We flattened Tokyo. Were we wrong to drop an atomic bomb to end the Japanese reign of terror? Were we? So my view, if I were Israel, I would have probably done it the same way.
There are no innocent Palestinian civilians.
Yeah, Copper Top. It's almost like nobody reports the truth anymore.
Atomic bomb on Japanese civilians were
They only report the version of their truth, what they want people to see.
Intentionally targeting the innocent for murder. It would be interesting to know what it is. Keep in mind, none of these people, Brian Mass from Florida, Randy Fine from Florida, in the end, of course.
Bro, when I heard some of this shit last night, I was like, holy shit.
Well, Hamas supporters, no. People who live next door to Hamas supporters, down the street from Hamas supporters, in the same region as Hamas supporters, Arabs, must be killed because they're Arabs. How is that any different from Hutu radio comparing the Tutsis to cockroaches? How is the net result different? Well, it's identical in both cases. How is it different? And this is an explicit violation of the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, but it's also true. How is this different from what the Germans did to civilians in World War II? It's different in its scale, thankfully. Is it different in its intent? It's hard to see how. And if it is different, how? How is it different? Well, of course it's not. It's the same thing. All of this, by the way, was going on with Samantha Power, not to beat up on poor Samantha Power. Clearly didn't sign up for this. She just wanted to talk about the empowerment of women and girls in the LGBT community. But how could you write a book on genocide or claim to oppose genocide or send money to a Holocaust memorial or talk about the Second World War at all and the atrocities against civilians and stand by, much less fund this while it happens? It's hard to understand. But not only have they being the supporters of the Israeli government, they've done both at the same time. Lecturing the world about why genocide is wrong, murdering the innocent is wrong, and they're right, and at the same time, bragging about those very same things in Gaza. Here is a now thankfully famous couple of tweets from Randy Fine of Florida, gloating about the murder of civilians in Gaza. The first is a picture of a dead child killed by the Israeli government that somebody put in his Twitter feed and asked basically, how can you sleep at night? And he says, quite well, actually, thanks for the pic, with an exclamation point. And the second is a story about starvation in Gaza, which is real and entirely manufactured by the Israeli government with the backstop of the American government. And Randy Fine, on seeing a picture of starving civilians, women and children, writes, starve away. Starve away. So here you have sitting members of the United States Congress simply denying genocide, but encouraging it, gloating over it, celebrating it. How did this happen? How did the rest of the United States stand by and allow the federal government to take its tax dollars to fund this? Israel could do none of this by itself. Of course, it couldn't exist without U.S. tax dollars. It would be destroyed by its enemies. There's no question about that. So how exactly have members of Congress been allowed not simply to fund, but to celebrate genocide here in the United States? And the answer is really simple. By a form of moral blackmail. Where the real criminals here are not Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and Netanyahu and the deputy mayor of Jerusalem, the people who are calling women and children who are Arabs animals who must be buried alive with bulldozers, starved to death. No, the real criminals, the people who should be in serious trouble, should go to jail, are the people who notice it, who complain about it, who object to it. Even the people who ever so mildly say, not my business, but I don't want to fund this. Those people are the people who have committed the real moral crimes. Hate to put this up again, but it's such a perfect distillation. Almost everything Mark Levin says, none of it is original. All of it is the kind of most vulgar form of the talking points that everyone else is using. His are just revealing because he doesn't hold back. Here's Mark Levin describing people who complain about the genocide in Gaza. Watch.
Who the hell do you think?
Listen to this shit.
Who the hell do you think you are to use these blood libels against the Jewish people, that they're indiscriminately murdering Palestinian civilians, when you spew the lies of the Hamas terrorists against the Jews and unleash anti-Semitism in this country around the world like we've never seen before? Who the hell do you think you are? The idea that the Israeli people, that their representatives in the government are committing acts of genocide and war crimes against the Palestinians in Gaza is sickening. It's a blood libel. Joe Biden basically using blood libel after blood libel against the Israelis, that they're killing all these civilians. They're using the Hamas numbers. All of this certified. All of this will be sanctified. All the Hitler Youth on our campuses, the Hitler Youth throughout Europe, and the Hitlerians throughout Europe, where the Holocaust started. This is what they're going to take out of October 7th. The enemy is Hamas.
I didn't even think about that, Top.
The enemy are those who are silent in the face of this kind of genocide. That is by the terrorists.
This is the absolute best phone holder.
I didn't even think about that shit.
Clips right into it, and it attaches to.
Keep in mind that Joe Biden did nothing to stop the genocide in Gaza. Of course, he continued to allow the U.S. government to pay for it. His criticisms were mild and, in the end, ineffectual. And even, as we noted, his in-house genocide expert didn't say a word about it. Biden let this happen, just as Donald Trump has let this happen and encouraged it to happen. But anyone who notices it is the real terrorist. So what you have here is the desperate attempt, which appears to be coming to an end, of the people committing the crimes trying to remain the victim of the crime. And it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable as a math question. All murder of civilians is wrong. But since we're comparing, in what place have more civilians been murdered? Israel or Gaza? It's not even close. It's not even close. And again, you don't even need to go there. You just say it's always wrong. It's wrong when you do it. It's wrong when you do it. It would be wrong if I did it. And we're all capable of it, which is one of the deepest lessons of what's happened in Gaza and Rwanda and Buchenwald. Is it the desire to kill groups of other people is not limited to one race or religion. It's a species of the same evil that lurks in every human heart. It's just the way people are. And under certain circumstances, good people can do horrifying things and support horrifying things. And there are probably good people who support the genocide in Gaza because they're under some kind of spell. They don't know what they're saying. They don't understand the implications of it. They don't understand the physical reality of it. Everybody is capable of evil. That's the truth. That's the universal lesson. But supporters of Israel don't believe in anything that's universal. They believe that there's one set of rules for the country they admire and another set for the world. When we do it, it's not wrong. When you do it, it is wrong. In fact, when you complain about our doing it, it's doubly wrong. And that lasts because it's self-evidently absurd, and it won't last. And anyone who's defended it or helped pay for it will face, at the very least, a reckoning at the end, and maybe sooner, one hopes. But in the meantime, because this is a process of stages, it might help just to establish what happened in Gaza. And of course, we're not really sure even now. There are more journalists operating in Kigali, Rwanda without restriction in 1994 than there are in Gaza today. I knew one of them well. The Western journalist. He was never molested by anybody. The Hutu militia never hurt him. He stood by and watched the whole thing and he reported on it. That is not the case in Gaza. Hundreds of journalists have been murdered by the Israeli government. Killing them, of course.
Good morning, Pimp.
Prevent the rest of the world from knowing what happened there.
I see you made it through tonight all right, brother.
And we want you to hear the interview that we just did with a man called Nick Maynard, who was one of those witnesses, because we think that his account, which is entirely non-political or even polemical, is instead
some brave motherfuckers back then right here, boy.
Oxford at the university in the UK. He's a cancer doctor.
That's when men were fucking men.
Years, and he'll explain it in just a moment. He has been in and out of Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza, and in recent years, particularly in Gaza, both before and after October 7th. And the things he's seen there are so horrifying that they can't really be rebutted. No one can look at the man you're about to see and say, oh, he's a secret member of Islamic Jihad, probably a closet Shiite. No, he's a British cancer doctor in his 60s who does believe in universal principles. You shouldn't kill the innocent because they're innocent. They've done nothing wrong. And when you do, you should be held to account for it. He's not an anti-Semite. He doesn't hate the Jews.
Damn,
like
did they get us?
He is horrified by what's happening in Gaza. And he has the bravery to describe it. Cost of living is already making it hard to live here, and it's not.
Did they get us, Copper Top? That's all right. We'll be back if they got us. Let me see what they bitching about. Let me see what they bitching about. I wonder why they got us, because I ain't got the sound on that. And I got, it's probably Tucker shit, to be honest with you. It's probably the shit with Tucker. We'll be back. See, I ain't even got a fucking warning. Nothing's even come in yet. Let me check my emails. For what though? Your stream was interrupted. Good morning, folks. Live stream copyright notice. Let me know when we come back. What was the copyright? Am I back yet? Yeah, see, it ain't even give me a notice of what I've done. All right, I think we back, ain't we? Yeah, it ain't even give me a notice of what we done, so I don't even know what we can and can't play, which is crazy because I've got the sound of one thing playing and the video of another. I don't know how they could fucking copyright that. It's probably the Tucker shit, to be honest with you. Let me see who this is even by right here. It might be this video here. I should have just sped that shit up, all of it. And I didn't. That's on me. But it's crazy to hear them motherfuckers talk like that. Like, people don't have a right to, let me see what. Trying to figure out what we're being copyrighted for. That way we don't make that mistake again. Which it don't matter. I ain't trying to monetize this channel anyway. I really don't give a fuck. As long as we don't get a strike. But it still ain't saying shit. Yeah, it ain't even saying nothing. I wonder why. I don't have an email. It's not saying that on the YouTube channel, so I don't know. It just says interrupted. Good morning, folks. And then when I try to click on to see what part of it is, it's not telling me. All right, so we'll figure something else out then. We'll figure something else out. Because we've listened to Tucker before like that. No, I can play something, but I just was wanting to play the war footage in the background. Because to me, it just... We'll just play the fireplace and we'll listen to Tucker. How about that shit? And I'll just keep talking. Nice cozy fire this morning. How about that shit? You know, it amazes me that people fucking play games in the sim world. And they've got some of these motherfuckers got a whole life built up on there. That shit's crazy.
You should be held to account for it. He's not an anti-Semite. He doesn't hate the Jews.
We'll
like a lot of Jews
speed him
around the
up
world, he is
just a
horrified
little
by what's
bit
happening
more.
in Gaza. And he has the bravery to describe it. Cost of living is already making it hard to live here, and it's not getting any better. Unfortunately, it's likely to get worse, and a lot of Americans fill the gap with credit cards, not just for fancy dinners, but to cover things like groceries and bills. That is a disaster. It's understandable, but don't go down that road because there is a tax, in effect, a survival tax of 20% interest or more. Why would you do that? Why would you hand money to the big banks when you can keep it for your family? Our friends at American Financing have a better way. If you're looking to buy your first home or refinance your current one, they're helping Americans achieve the dream of homeownership with monthly mortgage rates currently in the 5s. American Financing saves its customers an average of $800 per month. That's nearly 10 grand every year back to you. This isn't just a loan, it's a total financial reset. So debt is tough, but there's a smart way to do it and a reckless, self-destructive way to do it, credit cards. And so we recommend American Financing. They're salary-based, not commission-based, which means they actually...
Nobody gives a fuck. They're always trying to sell us something.
Call 800-685-5696. 800-685-5696 of Oxford. Thank you for doing this. So you're a medical professor at Oxford. I think you have one of the world's most respectable jobs, most respected jobs, certainly. And now you are speaking about what you have seen in the most contentious, controversial...
I don't give a fuck who you are.
How did you...
Blowing fucking kids up the way that they are over there. That shit's just not right. And I know them people have been fighting for hundreds of years. But man, like, do they think they're gonna get away with that shit? Eventually that shit will always come back to haunt you. I don't give a fuck. And you know them kids that live through them war-torn areas, you know that shit has to affect them growing up. And they get callous and they get cold. Then they want to kill them. And it's like one big ass never fucking ending cycle. I don't get it. And they've been there for thousands of years and they're trying to run them out of there. And I hate it that our government's even funding any of that shit. Really. I mean, you know, you got people here that's struggling their ass off and we're having to fund some shit that none of us even asked for. It benefits none of us. So why are we doing it? Why do we continue to do it?
What you saw. In fact, how did you wind up going to Gaza in the first place?
So
Have any of y'all even looked at any of that shit that's happening in Gaza?
Maybe in 2006 to go to the West Bank to teach medical students at Al-Quds University in Jerusalem, in Ramallah and Hebron, and did that on a very ad hoc basis for a few years. And then I was asked to do the same in Gaza, and I let
That shit is so fucking horrible, man.
fallen in love with the Palestinian people. I'd loved visiting the West Bank, so I went to Gaza for the
What
first.
did you like? It's weird maybe for Americans to hear that because the Palestinians have been so thoroughly maligned by our media for so long that people think of them as violent and primitive. What did you like about the Palestinians?
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm gonna try to see if I can find some footage of it.
Very welcoming. I've always been treated wonderfully by them. And when you go to Gaza, I mean, you see that even to a different level yet again. They are incredibly resilient, incredibly resourceful, but they are the kindest, most generous-hearted, most beautiful people I've ever.
Really?
Gaza.
I can't agree to which Americans have been told for decades that the people in Gaza are barely human. And that was not. When did you first go?
I went to Gaza for the first time in 2010, and it was just an initial sort of trip to teach, and then ever since then I've been taking a team of doctors from Oxford to teach medical students there.
What was Gaza like? Can you describe it in 2010?
Yeah,
Put a river on her. All right, bet.
It's been variously described as a large prison or concentration camp, and you know people might take issue with that terminology, but what lies behind that is the fact that the
What about the ocean, pimp?
have never ever been able to leave their country, so they are in prison there. So we went in through the most remarkable security from Israel. We went through the Erez crossing in northern Gaza. That first trip took us most of the day to get through the security, and we had 10 days, I think, in Gaza.
Wait, as a Western physician, it took you most of the day to get from Israel into Gaza because of the Israeli security?
Because the Israeli security. It took hours getting through the most remarkably intense security, being grilled repeatedly about why we were going there, what we were doing, why we were going there. Why didn't we go to Africa instead? Why were we going to Gaza? We wanted to help people. Why didn't we go to African countries? Literally those sort of questions we were being asked.
Is this the same border that Hamas came over on October 7th?
No. So Erez crossing is the very top of Gaza, the northern border with Israel. Hamas came out through the southern part, so near the bottom of Gaza. Erez crossing was destroyed very early on in conflict, so it's not being used at all. Certainly none of the humanitarian teams that have gone in through that at all. It's sort of no pass area. But you get into Gaza, and I remember vividly my first visit there in 2010, meeting these people who were just so welcoming. They were so delighted that we'd gone to visit them, and the hospitality was just remarkable. And that's been the way ever since. And indeed, every year I've been going there, I've been taking new people most times, and everyone falls in love with the Palestinian people, and they all want to go back. So in those early years, I was just teaching every year, and I've been doing that in 2023. In fact, we had a teaching trip planned in November 23, and that was clearly cancelled. But I've also been involved, separate to that, in carrying out and teaching cancer surgery. That's what I do in Oxford, so helping them develop their cancer services and teaching my specialty of cancer as well.
What did it look like in 2010? It was occupied, as you said, but what was the infrastructure like? Gaza City, how would you describe it?
There was vast amount of wreckage.
This is Gaza right now.
It's worth pointing out that every single trip I've ever been into Gaza, and I've been many times in those 18 to 16 years.
Families trying to gather and salvage what they can.
By Israel, aerial bombardments on Gaza by the Israelis.
And these are,
I was there in 2010.
this is fucking regular civilian people. This is not army. This is not, Navy, Air Force. This is just regular folks.
Just after,
and they're trapped.
Which you may remember, which was about a 58-day military assault, I think. The destruction of buildings was just like something I'd never seen before. So you have this sort of mixture of mass destruction, but you see Gazans rebuilding the whole time. They're there rebuilding their destroyed houses yet again. But it's a busy, thriving place. You go down to Gaza City where the harbour is. It's busy. There are markets there.
Nah, I ain't trying to do that then.
the time to get back to.
I don't care about all that.
The resources are very limited. I mean, particularly in the healthcare system there, which is where I've been working, they never have enough resources. Their economy has almost been completely disabled by Israel all that time. So they have very limited resources for everything, for all aspects of living there, but particularly in the healthcare structure.
So in 2010, or let's just say before October 7th, 2023, how would you just, what
they do about make this shit impossible to fucking listen to and do and just hang out, don't they?
Remarkably talented. And I was teaching the students for years. I know how bright these kids are. They're just remarkably bright. They know so much. A lot of it was sort of didactic teaching, online teaching, which we try to improve on in our sort of face-to-face teaching. But so their knowledge is remarkable. They practice medicine at a very high
I
level.
don't know. This shit bothers me, y'all. It really does. And I know it probably shouldn't because I'm thousands of miles away, but
the doctors had to apply to get them transferred, for example, to the West Bank or to Jordan or sometimes into Israel to have specialist treatment that couldn't be carried out in Gaza. So they had to work with very limited resources.
How hard was it for cancer patients to leave Gaza for treatment?
Very difficult. So there was a very laborious application process. The Ministry of Health had to apply to the Israeli authorities. That took on average about 3 months for each application to go through. These are all people with life-threatening, time-critical illnesses. So that 3 months, that cancer would change a lot. Of those applicants, about 2/3 would get through and 1/3 would be rejected. So these are people, again, with life-threatening illnesses which cannot be treated in Gaza. 1 in 3 were being rejected, so they would inevitably die. And even if they were granted permission, they were often sent out alone. So kids sent out for treatment for their brain tumor, for example, might be sent by themselves without any parent accompanying them.
Were these kids with a documented history of terrorism?
Not at all. Not at all.
Why would the Israelis prevent a child with a brain tumor from getting treatment, not at their expense? What's the thinking there?
I don't know what the thinking is. I mean, there were some patients who were accepted into Israeli hospitals, and there are many examples of that. But why some were turned down, some were accepted, I've no idea. But it is a fact that many people were rejected despite needing life-saving treatment.
How many hospitals were in?
Prize Picks is now available in most states. Download the app and start playing today.
Collect iconic heroes, build your strat, and fight challenging battles.
Shit.
Download.
Gaza. There's 36. I mean, the United Nations tells us there are 36 hospitals in Gaza, but some of them are very, very small clinics. So there are probably 4, or there were 4 major hospitals in Gaza. The Indonesian hospital in the north, Shifa Hospital. Which
and me and you pay for all that shit. Them people have free fucking health care over there.
Of those, NASA Hospital, NASA Medical Complex in Khan Yunis, where I was based most recently, is the only remaining large hospital in Gaza. And even that is very significantly
What happened to the other
disabled. They've been destroyed.
Why?
So I think this is part of the whole healthcare infrastructure has been targeted in Gaza repeatedly over many years. I mean, I've been in hospitals being bombed as long ago as 2014. But in this...
Well, you were in the hospital while it was bombed?
No, I was visiting a hospital before, and then I visited after it had been bombed. I've been in hospitals that have been bombed in this current conflict, but not prior to then. I think this is... Every single hospital has been attacked. I mean, nearly 2,000 healthcare workers have been killed during this conflict. A far greater proportion.
What does it do good? What good does it do to kill healthcare workers?
Per 100,000 capita of population, 75. The equivalent number in Ukraine is 0.8. In all the other conflicts, it's single figures of healthcare workers per 100,000 population. In Gaza, it's 75. So there's been a grossly disproportionate killing of healthcare workers. All the hospitals have been attacked, and I think this is. I mean, I'm going to be talking to you about what I've seen with my own eyes. The disproportionate attack on the healthcare system.
Luna, it's bad.
A deliberate part of the Israeli policy.
And you know what? People just go on every day like it ain't no big deal. Like they just don't give a fuck. And I get it. It doesn't directly affect you. But when you know what's going on, and I don't know. I mean, us talking about it ain't going to do shit. I know that, but.
Of living in Gaza.
A lot of people hesitate before getting.
You know what bothers me? It bothers me because we pay for this shit.
Like they have some say in how they take care of their own bodies, and that's why more Americans are turning to more gentle alternatives with
I
ingredients.
think that bothers me a lot, really.
Those alternatives is a dose for cholesterol. Dose for cholesterol is a clinically.
And what do? You just quit paying taxes so you don't have to fund this shit. Then you end up in jail. It's kind of a fucked up thing if you really think about it.
In May.
Oh, you don't want to fund it? Okay, don't pay the taxes. Then you end up in jail. It's just stupid.
He was discovered about a mile from Shifa Hospital.
Which I get. You got to pay your taxes so the country runs. But we should have more of a say in what we're paying on and what we're letting money go on. See, things like that to me should be voted by the public. And I know it would cost a fortune, but that also would stop people from fucking trying to send money everywhere too.
Well, when I don't know. I mean, I don't know what goes on behind this. What I can tell you is that when Shifa Hospital's been destroyed effectively twice during this war, but when it was invaded initially, maybe 2 years ago, all the staff were displaced, including very, very close friends of mine. And when they were allowed back in, when the Israeli military left after a few weeks, they discovered the dead bodies of 300 civilians in the hospital. Some patients, some staff, many of them handcuffed with their hands behind their back, many of them with bullet wounds on the head, including this friend of mine. So there are multiple examples of people, of healthcare staff who've been killed, healthcare staff who've been abducted. I think the latest figure is nearly 500 healthcare workers have been abducted, illegally detained without charge. Many of them
by the Israeli military?
By the Israeli military into the Israeli prison system. Multiple examples of them being tortured. This has all been documented by a group called Healthcare Workers Watch. You can Google it. They produced a document called "The Killing Detention of Gazan Healthcare Workers," and there are multiple examples of people being tortured to death.
Tortured to death?
Absolutely. So an iconic orthopedic surgeon who I didn't know well, but I had met, and in fact I had coffee with him in May 2023. He was tortured to death, and in fact a Sky television investigative journalist interviewed fellow detainees and did some remarkable investigative journalism. This is all in public domain, and described how this surgeon's mode of torture was being raped to death. He had been serially raped on a daily basis for 2 weeks prior to his dying. His body's never been returned. I've taken detailed testimonies from healthcare workers who've been in Israeli prisons. And
it is, Copper Top.
I've taken video and audio testimonies, and they've described
Did it strike it down again?
How their genitals were repeatedly attacked specifically. They were electrocuted through their genitals.
Did it strike it down again, Copper Top, or are we still here? I take it struck us down again. Holy fuck. Okay, we're still here. All right.
They underwent severe psychological torture.
I think it might have been the World War II video footage.
They were not allowed to lie down. They were on their knees or sitting for 60 days non-stop, beaten regularly, electrocuted. I mean, awful things. And this document that the Healthcare Workers Watch, you'll read, your listeners can Google that. There's all the different modes of torture, all of which
by the Israeli government,
by the Israeli prison service, guards and military. And and again, the evidence is there. Detailed testimonies from fellow detainees, from families, indeed some testimonies from the Israeli prison service staff as well. And again, this has all been submitted to the internet.
Dive into a world of tranquility as you test out builds and create your perfect tower.
Courts.
Spring is the most refreshing time of year.
Jesus Christ, Tucker.
Coffee, lots of it. It's an American company founded by veterans with conviction. They built a.
So your friend who was raped to death, your friends who were tortured, why were they detained and tortured?
I think this is there's a clear disproportion of senior healthcare workers who've been taken compared to junior healthcare workers. My presumption is, I can tell you a lot of facts about what's happened there. My interpretation is my opinion. It would seem to me, and many others who've witnessed all of this, that this has been a deliberate policy to destroy the healthcare system.
Well, can you give us a specific example of someone you know who was detained and tortured, and what were the circumstances? How does that happen?
So they're arrested.
What's up, Joe?
So my two colleagues, one of them was arrested in the Indonesian hospital, one of them was arrested in Nassau hospital. The Israeli military invade the hospitals. They, what would appear to be fairly arbitrarily, arrest some, let others go, predominantly males. They are then taken off, and I'll describe what happened to the last testimony I took. He was with about 20 or 30 other healthcare workers put in a big pit, pit with no covering. They were stripped naked down to the underwear. They're blindfolded. They were handcuffed. They were left in a pit in the ground for 2 to 3 days. Then they were taken off to an Israeli prison. They were left blindfolded. They were left handcuffed. They were beaten those first few days non-stop for 12 hours at a time. Many other forms of torture we just described about all along. One of my close friends, who's one of the senior deans in the medical school there, was abducted and taken away. He was only taken for, I think, 10 days and then released. But there are so many examples.
How old is he?
He is, I guess, late 50s. Oh. Yeah, and there are photographs.
Not of militant age.
Not of militant age, absolutely.
And what was the justification?
Well, so they were continually being grilled about, about them being Hamas members and what they had done and all that sort of stuff. Now, there are some, Hussam Abu Safir, who's the director of Kamal Adwan Hospital, was abducted over a year ago. Now he's still under.
Let me speed this shit up so we don't get struck.
It's really, I've done a lot of podcasts, but yours is really particularly an exciting opportunity for me.
Really is an honor. I'll start it off here saying
a lot of my audience is young men, many of which have never.
They're talking about
A year ago. Why do you
Civil
think young
War.
men should care about the war in Iran?
They should care because this is the conflict the international conflict that will affect their futures
Heck yeah,
more than the conflicts since 9/11 have. So we had two forever wars after 9/11. We had this forever war in Afghanistan, forever war in Iraq, and that did affect some small subset of the future of America's males, their futures. But that was purely through voluntary induction, volunteering to go into the military. And for most Americans,
A lot of
this is
people
most males
volunteered,
in
man.
America. The economy was not wrecked. This did not really have a big effect on jobs, for example. And so, unless they chose specifically to go into the military, which was again a relatively small segment here, the impact on this of those wars was not really was not going to change their life. It just didn't change their life. Now, for those who did serve, many changed their life. We had between the 6,600 killed that was in the military. That's double the number we lost on 9/11, just to be clear. And we have tens of thousands who are badly wounded for the rest of their lives. They've survived, but it's real. The amount of personal injury.
Yeah, but how do we
was
stop
quite
the
serious.
British
Now,
Bulldog?
this war,
Like, for
we're
real,
so
how do
far
we
have very
really
little
stop it?
personal
People
injury
don't
to
listen, man.
those that serve. That may or may not continue. I
The
think
problem is everything happens. So, and this is just my opinion, but I think that everything happens so fast now that you can't, and people, their attention span is so short that you could tell them and you could warn them, but within 30 seconds, they've moved on to something else. And that's all due to this fucking internet. I don't, it's just going to have to happen. People are going to have to fucking feel it. And then they'll understand.
This war is going on long enough that may actually change. But the one thing that is happening already is the economic
Get me
consequences.
some coffee. I'll
And
be
these
right
economic
back.
consequences are going to be felt first and foremost by the youngest in our country. And that's definitely going to be affecting young men. That's going to have significant effects in whether guys who are, say, 18 who don't want to go to college decide they want to get a job. This is going to be much more difficult. Right now, just yesterday, Jack, the unemployment rate is 4.3%. If we can keep it under 7% by the end of the year, we're doing fantastic. As time goes on, it could become even worse than that. Inflation is also likely to go up tremendously over the next 6 to 8 months. This is going to impact people who are 18 years old. Now, then there's also folks who are going to say, well, okay, so I won't get a job. What I'm going to do is I want to go to college, either get an associate's degree or get a bachelor's degree. Well, here the problem is colleges, we're already getting hurt economically because there's a big battle with the Trump administration and universities. But now what's going to happen with the economic fallout of the war, those universities are going to lose funds even more. What that means is the offers to have tuition relief, some sort of various forms of scholarships, these will be shrinking over time. And they'll be shrinking right for the people we're talking to here on this podcast. Then, though, you have another factor here. Universities in the last 30 years have gone to international students in droves to cover full freight. That is to get them to pay the full costs. Well, with the Trump war on universities, this is having a dramatic effect.
Bulldog, you know how you know Trump's trying is because everybody's trying to stop him. When somebody's doing something that's good for the people, that kind of, it seems like all the ones that's in power try to do whatever they can do to fucking stop it. All the disinformation, everything. And I've heard some pretty educated people speak reckless on Trump. And it's like, we don't know that for sure. But I mean, they put the information out that they want you to speculate on. There's a reason for that. There is an absolute reason for that. And you got to stop and think about that too.
On the international students. And I know because I teach international relations at the
Do
University
you
of
think
Chicago.
I give
was
a
just in
shit
China last June. So
if
what you're
Trump
getting is you're
paid
getting the
for
shrinkage
pussy?
of that pool.
No.
So what that means
As long as
is
he wasn't
that the
fucking with
need
no
for
kids,
the
I don't
American
give a
student
damn.
to pay higher freight,
All
maybe not quite
the
still
fact
full
about
freight,
it is all men have paid, and I hate to be so vulgar, but all men have paid for pussy their whole life. That's just the way, that's human nature, right? You get married, you raise a family, you work your ass off. You think you're not paying? Just some men like quicker, you know? It's almost like a doctor that goes hunting inside a high fence. Is he hunting? Yeah. Yeah, he's hunting. It ain't traditional hunting like most men would do. It's not real sporting, but he's still getting the thrill of the kill, and he's still getting to, take a deer down. It's the same thing with buying prostitutes and shit. I mean, if you want to go out there and get diseases and shit, that's on you. I mean, you're two consenting adults. Now, when it comes to kids, I think them fuckers ought to be fried. I pay every time I get paid. I know that's right, Copper Top.
Going up. So the price of this is going up. That was before the Iran war.
Right.
Okay. So this is what they're really, these are the real pressures here. They're going to come to bear. And why a lot of folks are now, just give you the third pressure, because I see this. I spent all like 4 hours last night with 45 students who are all 21 to 23 years old talking about various things. But AI. So now there's the idea, well, wait a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to take out all this debt, and it's going to get worse with the Iran war. And when I get out, I'm going to have even less chance of getting a job. And an unemployment rate might already be,
AI
Professor
is
Babe
gonna
saying,
do
going up
things.
significantly. And that's not even taking AI into account.
AI is going to do
So
shit in the
these are the
digital
real
world, in
challenges,
the
the
digital
reasons
realm.
why the last thing 16 to 22-year-olds want is this Iran war. Taking on Iran, we've taken on the most difficult country to beat since Germany in World War II, or maybe the Soviet Union. Okay, but Iran wasn't a great power like Germany. It wasn't a great power like the Soviet Union. We're making Iran a major power as we go forward. But this was the biggest one, much more difficult than Vietnam, much more difficult than Iraq, much more difficult than Afghanistan. And so the consequences of taking on that much more dangerous, difficult foe are going to be with us really significantly longer. This is not just go away. We don't have an easy out over the next few weeks.
Are we spending like, what is it, 500 million a day in this war?
It's probably 1 to 2 billion a day. Now, with the so at the moment, I don't trust any of the accounting coming out of the administration. So when I look at what is likely the cost of this war, about 2 weeks into the war, the Trump administration went to Congress to get an extra 200 billion to cover the next 6 months of the war. 200 billion for about 180 days. And I think that's probably as good as you're going to get as what the best accounting is until we go through several years. 2 or 3 years from now, we'll probably get 80, 90% clarity on that accounting. We may never get 100% clarity. But in the middle of this war where we're failing strategically, I mean, it's a disaster of the first order. The last thing that's going to happen is, direct, honest accounting where the administration is going to come forward and say, oh, okay, let's really release all this. When Trump came in, the very first thing he did and Doge did was get rid of all of the accountants, so to speak, rather than continue them and rather than just say, oh, well, we just need our own political appointees. No, they just zeroed out the offices altogether. So what that means is the umpires, so to speak, have been removed from the game.
Right.
So it's like playing a baseball game without umpires on the field. You're expecting the players now to call balls and strikes, and who got tagged out at first or not. You don't really have the umpires anymore.
No one's making sure we have enough money, essentially.
Well, that's right. And with our debt,
Bro, I got so many videos blocked. It's crazy. I'm in my notifications for policy.
Global in nature.
Video blocked
What I'm
globally.
saying is you're going to have a global
Age restricted. Video blocked in some territories. Video blocked in some territories. Another one. Video blocked in some territories. Age restriction.
Jack. So
Copyright strike in
or what would be
7
an
days.
indicator? Oh, the bond
Video
rate.
blocked
You'll see it
globally.
coming with bond rate. So the first thing
Age
people look at to try to
Age
understand the health of the
restricted.
economy is
It's like, what
the
the
stock
fuck?
market. Right. Well,
They don't like
it's
it.
really important
Oh
to
well,
know
fuck 'em.
though, that only half of the adult population has any money in the stock market at all, and 80% of the stock market's value is held by 10% of the adults. 10% of the adults. These are basically rich people at the casino table. Okay. So for everybody else, you may want to be that rich person at the casino table. I can certainly see you're 60 and you say, I want to get there. I want to be in that 10% or even better than that. But the fact is, it's a measure of the money that's sloshing around to invest in companies and a much better sense of the health of the country are interest rates, things that are boring. You don't even see them reported very often. You have these bubbles in the stock market that burst here. The interest rates are the leading indicator.
And what the hell is
And
this
when
got
those
to do
interest
with
rates
Civil
start to go
War?
up
I'm just
here,
curious.
it's a serious problem, because what that means in ordinary people's language is when you borrow money from like your folks here, and they don't charge you interest rate usually. When you borrow from a bank, they charge you interest rate. Well, these bonds that I'm talking about, this is the government borrowing the money. So they got to pay that interest rate, and those interest rates go up, you lose a lot of your money real quick.
How many years or months would the war have to go on before you think that would be pretty likely?
A good benchmark here is 1973-74, because that's when there was an oil embargo on the United States, on the world essentially, from these countries in an organization called OPEC. It's the group of oil producing countries. Saudi Arabia is the biggest in OPEC. And what they did is they were really angry about America supporting Israel in the 1973 war between Israel and the Arab countries. And so these mostly Arab states in OPEC, they decided to cut off oil. That's a pretty big deal. And they kept it off for 151 days. That was only 6% of world supply. Hormuz today is 20%. But they kept it off for 151 days. That is what led to the doubling of inflation, the doubling of employment within 12 months. And over the next 6 to 8 years, interest rates, today the interest rate on a home is a little over 6%. In the 1970s, it was 16%. That came as a ripple effect, a wave effect of that 151 days. But where we are today is around day 70, just to put it in perspective. If we get to, say, July, August, and there's been no real change here, and that is completely plausible. So in the short term, Jack, this looks
I
like
clicked on this thinking it was something else.
If a tank rolls down the street, they're gonna. I'm at these gun shows, and I hear these guys talking tough, and I said this at breakfast to y'all, that they're gonna, if a tank rolls down the street, they're gonna, the hands will go up. You guys will know how to handle that, but people like me will not know how to handle that. I just can't see that being happening. I see somebody shoots a couple shots and they get them fired back, and they're throwing the white flag up.
I think about it all the time, and I mean, I don't think it looks like how traditional civil wars look. I mean,
some of these motherfuckers are stupid. If you think that there ain't people out here waiting for this shit, you're crazy as fuck. They dream about it.
I know it's a super touchy subject, obviously, but people talk about it all the time. Civil war. Do you guys think we're headed to a civil war?
I think it's possible. I think at the very least, I think we're headed towards civil disobedience. I think that will come.
No, I think it about broke out already with all the riots and shit that were going on in the last couple of years. It was really fucking close then.
First. And I do think we're headed down a track of, towards totalitarian rule. Back in the day, it was divide us all up economically, the haves and the have-nots. Now they've employed, and I think even more effective tactic here in the West, and that's divide us all up by race, ethnicity, gender.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And Dr. Vodi Bakum would call that cultural Marxism. And I think it's been very effective here. But instead of trying to unite us around the values that, have made this country so great and have created so much opportunity and prosperity for us all, they try and divide us up on all these different metrics and barometers, and it just makes it easier for them to conquer us and then to present themselves as the savior, as the solution. And it blows me away that some people can still be gaslit into thinking that the federal government would ever be the solution for anything.
I think this.
You know what's fucked up? You can go and fucking. Never mind. I ain't even going to say it.
War question is, I think it'd be more of a regional thing. I always remembered when Trump was giving a speech at the White House and riots were, remember where when Rand Paul got attacked, him and his wife did. And then I guess we were maybe 100 yards behind that. And so we went back the other way. And I remember the police
you just
were,
Rand Paul out there getting his ass whooped?
Andy Barr from Kentucky, his wife had died. And he had his two precious little girls there in these pretty little matching dresses. And people were just saying filthy stuff. And I'd had enough. And I told those, I said, one little girl said, "You want me to carry you?" And she said, "No." And I just held her little hand. And I told her, I said, "Those people probably just needed Jesus, honey." I said, "We pray for them." And it seemed to give her a little comfort. But anyway, we had the girls. Mark Green was with me on one side. And I remembered the police. This town was like boarded up. and I'm not a big city guy. So, but the blocks on every corner, that's where the cops were. And they weren't allowed to go within the city, within the block. They were told where to be. And I just thought, oh, this is what civil war looks like. I mean, and I think it'll be a regional type situation where people will move out of the people who can will get out, and they'll come to places like Tennessee, refugees, so to speak. And then they will end up, when they leave their states, though, they will turn them over to the cabal or whatever, the corrupt far left machine. And that's what will, and I think you'll see two Americas emerge more so than we have now. And also, I'm at these gun shows. I hear these guys talking tough, and I said this at breakfast to y'all that they're going to, if a tank rolls down the street, they're going to, the hands will go up. You guys will know how to handle that, but people like me will not know how to handle that. I just can't see that being happening. I see somebody shoots a couple shots and they get them fired back and they're throwing the white flag up.
Yeah,
so
it ain't gonna happen. I mean, some of
I don't know how you
would
what that would look like.
It ain't gonna happen quite like that. I promise.
I think about it all the time, and I mean, I don't think it looks like how traditional civil wars look. I mean, look, we saw a 17-year-old kid and an entire city of riots with 3 bullets. Done. Immediately stopped. I don't think that's what it looks like. I think it's like what you're talking about, and I think it's already
Who
started.
was he talking about?
I mean,
he was talking about what was that young kid in Minnesota? I believe it was Minnesota, the one that actually got acquitted.
You see, there's a massive migration happening in the U.S. right now. You see red states going farther red. You see blue states going farther blue. I think that some of that, I mean, like, for example, and I'm not asking what your guys' stance is on it or anything, but abortion, for example, like personally, I think it's a little out there to be hunting women down that have had an abortion and throwing them in prison. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think that is a deterrent from getting lefties to move into the state. I think that some of these other things that are far left are deterrents for people on the right to move into the state. And I think it's dividing right now. And on top of that, you see these governors starting to align. I mean, that event that we went to in Nashville, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago.
Yep.
It was the governor of Louisiana and governor of Tennessee talking about how they are aligning on all these issues and sending in the National Guard to help on the Texan border.
Yep.
The whole country came together to get him financial help to get out of it. But that dude was swinging a fucking skateboard at his head. Kyle Rittenhouse.
This is kind of how it starts. It's kind of how it's not kind of how it starts. This is how it starts.
15% of the population voting too. So, the war, who's going to notice almost kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, is there talk about this up in Congress?
Not really. I don't hear a lot of talk about it. Maybe a joke here or there, but I do think there's a level of detachment up there, clearly, and just not representatives picking up on the frustration of the American people and the frustration of the continuance of the status quo.
Do you feel like state government's becoming more important than federal?
I think it originally was designed, except for national defense, that was it.
You,
Kyle Rittenhouse,
building your app on Base 44.
I think that's important, and unfortunately, not a lot of people pay attention.
Anybody even know what happened to him, where he went to?
On the federal level or the state level, but I think you're seeing now, especially post-COVID, how important it is to have a strong state government, and so many people benefited by being in a red state, and many people fled out of blue states to go live in red states just because they could still.
They damn sure did. I can tell you stories because I worked the interstate, right? Fucking changing semi tires. I'd go to come back into Florida and there'd be fucking mile long lines of cars with New York tags and shit. And I thought to myself, well, motherfucker, you voted for them people up there. Don't run down here and fuck it up now.
They don't have some, level of freedom. And so it goes back to something I was talking about earlier, how important it is that people actually pay attention and do the bare minimum, of what it means to be a citizen and be engaged, be educated, vote, be an activist. There's so many ways you can participate in this government, but here's the key. What happens when you don't? You're seeing it right now. There's always a vacuum, and that vacuum is filled by something. And what's it being filled by right now?
Bob Dylan had a song. He became a Christian for a while. I'm not sure if he still is or not. I don't know what his faith is, but it was called "You Got to Serve Somebody," and it was in the line of "You got to serve somebody, be the devil or the Lord, but you got to serve somebody." And what I think he was saying was, if you're not filling that gap, the other side is. It's just a vacuum. There is no vacuum in politics. It's you're either at the table or you're on the dadgum menu. And right now,
Trump said that no country would be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz, warning that U.S. forces are prepared to respond if any side attempts to dominate the critical international waterway. Of course, all of this coming here after details about the strikes emerged after President Trump, at a cabinet meeting earlier yesterday, expressed confidence that his administration was making headway on settling the war. The president is looking for a settlement that will reopen the Strait of Hormuz and provide him with a credible argument that Iran's nuclear capability has been diminished enough to declare victory. A lot to discuss here, so we want to bring in Director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Jonathan Schanzer, joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jonathan. As always, we appreciate you being here with us this morning.
My pleasure.
I want to start with that cabinet meeting we saw just yesterday with President Trump. Was supposed to be held at Camp David, was then moved to the White House. What did we really gain from that? Was there anything that we saw happen?
I just got a notification from them. Missiles have been launched from Iran. Well, good for you.
Significantly during that cabinet meeting.
Well, I have to say, I kind of like the atmospherics of it, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's showing that the president's thinking seriously about his next moves and he's engaging with his top advisors. I think that's important. I think a lot of people were maybe working under the assumption that, he was tackling some of this stuff unilaterally. I think it's good to see the Mind Hive come together. I think that when the president talks about the strategy that the Iranians have, and he calls them out on it, and he actually tells them flat out that he's not concerned about the midterms as a restraint on his war-making capabilities if he has to use those. I think that's important. I think letting them know that they are in for a long haul as it relates to the economic campaign that we're waging against the enemy, I think is also important. So, I think overall there was some good messaging that came out of that cabinet meeting yesterday. Obviously, we don't know all of the things that were discussed. One can only hope that there are some covert things and maybe even some military surprises that the president can bring to bear if we continue to see the kind of escalation that we saw last night in the skies over Kuwait.
And I wanted to, of course, ask you about this news we learned from late last night, putting up this post once again from U.S. Central Command. What do we know so far about these reported Iranian drone movements near the Strait of Hormuz? And why did President Trump decide to authorize these self-defense strikes at this moment?
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Oh, Carla.
Well, if they're self-defense, then I think we can understand exactly why we conducted them. In other words, if there was a direct threat to us, or perhaps to one of our allies, it certainly looks like there was probably a threat to the base that we maintain in Kuwait. But in general, it's still a very unsafe atmosphere. I think what we're watching right now is an effort by the United States to maintain a pretty close eye on everything that's going on from the skies above. Right. So in other words, the intelligence that we're picking up through satellites and maybe signals intelligence, we're pulling together a picture in real time and countering threats in real time. What that's actually doing is it's helping to keep a lid on escalation. If these attacks actually got through, well, then you'd start to see a lot more bombing when you begin to preempt the enemy and defang them in ways that make all of their moves futile, which is what I think it looks like right now. I think this is really dominance on our part. I do think that there is a question of what are we doing to further defang the regime? Is it just waiting them out economically? Are there other military strikes that we're considering? These are things that I don't know how to answer just yet. But I do like the idea that, we're preempting them right now. We're preventing them from causing damage. We're messaging to them about how their strategy is going to fail. And he's also, the president's messaging that he's not going to be deterred. I think all of this is positive. Again, though, a lot of this really does depend on Donald Trump's patience, Donald Trump's ability to carry out a plan once he's got one locked in. And I don't know, maybe there was one that was arrived at last night.
Well, and again, a key part of this is President Trump looking for a settlement that will reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Jonathan, just for our viewers that are continuing to follow this here with us, really, what are those key points that is making that so
bomb the fucking shit out of them on the coastline?
difficult
Just
to
take
reach?
it out. Trump's
Well,
trying
I
to
mean,
leave
it's basically we have just two fundamentally
structure in place because the world actually needs it. But here's the thing. They're not going to give up anyway. And do you think the Iranian people will leave that shit there if they were to go down? No. They're going to destroy that shit because they know that that's what Trump wants anyway. Right? Just fucking blow that shit up already. Land the fucking troops.
different negotiating positions here from the two primary parties. The United States, once the Islamic Republic to stop engaging in malign activity.
Fucking mountains. You're going to have to go run them out, man.
And activity in this case means building out its nuclear program, building out its ballistic missiles, supporting terrorist proxies around the region, and cracking down on the 90 million Iranian people who deserve freedom. When we start to ask for those things, those are fundamentally at odds with what the Islamic Republic wants. They want to continue to build those nukes. They want to be a regional power that threatens the rest of the region. And they want the ballistic missiles and the proxies to be able to do that. And they don't want to have to answer to those 90 million people.
There wouldn't be a fucking oil tanker left or oil tank left. There wouldn't be a fucking oil line left. I'd take it all out. Then they wouldn't have no way to fund themselves. All the oil derricks that they got, I'd bomb every one of them motherfuckers. You want to fuck with us? Here you go.
Their freedom.
I don't know why.
This is actually, I think, the reason why those people are probably our most important weapon.
Time I got done, them motherfuckers would be wanting to hand you the Iranian.
That we have yet to truly mobilize. And again, when we talk about the covert means that are available to us, I think those are really important right now. And there's a reason why we're not hearing about them, because they're covert, right? But what we really want is we want weapons getting in. You want secure communications getting in. You want to give the Iranian people the tools that they need in order to bring down this regime. I don't know.
Bro, here's the thing. I wonder if we can see some of the oil derrick.
When did breakfast get so...
I'm just curious. Yeah, see, you can't even see no footage of this shit. Let's see what this dude talking about.
For months, the global economy has been balancing on a razor's edge. Most people have not even noticed it yet. They're still driving to work, still buying groceries, still complaining about the gas prices without realizing how fragile the entire global energy system has quietly become. But beneath the surface of financial markets, oil traders, central banks, shipping companies, and governments are watching one place almost every minute of the day, and that is the Strait of Hormuz. The narrow strip of water near Iran that carries a massive portion of the world's oil supply. And now Wall Street analysts are warning that if the U.S. and Iran peace talks fail, the world could be heading toward what some are calling a generational oil shock. You see, right now, the ceasefire between Washington and Tehran remains extremely fragile. Overnight military tensions near the Hormuz choke point reminded markets just how quickly the situation could spiral again. President Trump has reportedly taken a hard negotiating stance: make a good deal or walk away entirely. And according to analysts across Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, UBS, Bookings, and other major institutions, they're saying the same thing. Time is running out. Because the world has been surviving this conflict using temporary emergency measures or just straight up rhetoric on the internet that may soon disappear. You see, for months, global oil markets have been held together by what analysts call these buffers. Countries releasing emergency reserves. Oil shipments were rerouted. Floating storage was tapped, inventories were drained, and traders kept betting that the conflict would end quickly. Now, that combination temporarily prevented oil prices from exploding even as Middle East supply disruptions intensified. But now those buffers are starting to fade, and that is where the real danger begins. real quick, if you don't mind me jumping in, if you're a business owner anywhere on earth and you want to learn how to increase your sales, increase your prices, get more referrals, and start making more money, links down below. I've got a one-day sale for the Profit Optimizer course. Me and my friend Josh teach it. It's a game changer. If you watch it within 30 days ago, Ninja, this is not that good. I'm not going to make a ton of money. I'll give you your money back. Just email us. We'll give you your money back.
Man,
that's how
fuck
serious
you,
we
fat
feel
boy.
about this.
As
now let's
soon
get
as
back to
they
this.
start trying to sell something, I'm fucking out. I can't do the sales pitch shit. That's what they all do. Let's see if we can watch this without getting fucked up.
China stepped into the void created by Western-led sanctions. In North has stunted production.
It's interesting how Iran has had to survive. This is a Chinese rig, but at the core, it's American technology. All that bit in yellow. But it was all purchased before the sanctions took hold.
Yeah, some more Chinese stealing America shit.
China stepped into the void created by Western-led sanctions. In North Azerbaijan, the state oil company built these new facilities with its Chinese partner, CNPC.
This is the heart of the central processing facilities.
This Western-trained petroleum engineer shows off new equipment where the crude comes in before export to world markets.
This area.
It's a start, but Iran's deputy minister of petroleum says more investors are needed.
All of these need to be developed, and we need more than a few major companies to partner with and to develop these fields.
But it's fair you need the Western technology, right?
Yes, that is correct.
While some European companies like Total of France and Italy's Eni had a presence in Iran, U.S. companies left after the revolution in 1979 and never came back. Whether major oil companies bite depends on how generous terms will be when Iran rolls out $185
So they're
billion
trying to
worth of
say they don't have fucking excavators over there. Well, what is that fucking Komatsu 220 sitting right there? It's not a big excavator. But if you think you can't dig down 20 feet deep with that, or 40 feet deep with that, you're fucking stupid.
of new products at the end of November. An ambitious plan, but one which
They don't
Iran
have
is
the
banking
track
on to usher in
to
a
go there.
prosperous new chapter after years of
That's 10
sanctions
years
have
old.
taken their toll.
This video is
Growth
10
has
years
stalled
old.
this year, but the World Bank believes Iran could
It's
hit
got
6% growth
172,000
with this
views.
increased production.
It wasn't AI then, sir.
Good for Iran, but the prospect of a flood of new supply poses a dilemma for a market flooded with oil. John Defterius, CNN, West Karun, Iran.
They're full of shit, is what they are. They're fucking men.
U.S. General are showing up in homes and garages across America. It's because there is.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I've watched some of the mechanics out there that put shit together outside in the fucking dirt and all. You talking about some badass motherfuckers rebuilding trucks that's all.
Oh, it was
twisted
a
up and-
massive TikTok moment that's over. The American life of luxury over. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement has arrested the niece and grandniece of an Iranian general the U.S. just killed during President Trump's first term.
Good deal.
ICE busted them shortly after the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, revoked their green cards. The pair had posted praise for Iran's regime and celebrations of attacks on the U.S. At the same time, they were living a very high lifestyle in L.A. Senior foreign policy correspondent Jillian Turner has more from the State Department. Jillian.
Good morning to you, Harris. These relatives of Qasem Soleimani did more than just praise Iran's regime and enemy of the United States on social media. These women publicly supported the IRGC, that's Iran's military, that's designated a foreign terrorist organization here in the United States. The Trump administration says that amounts to material support in this case. So take a look at these women. The niece and the grandniece of Qasem Soleimani, they are in ICE custody now, pending removal from the U.S. The Secretary of State says the move came after he terminated their legal status in the country last week, posting on X. Until recently, Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the U.S. She celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the, quote, Great Satan. President Trump often touts the operation
Then
he
why would you
authorized
wanna
in
be
his
here?
first term to take out Qasem Soleimani, a notorious killer responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people. He counts it among his greatest counterterrorism achievements to this very day. Take a listen to the president a moment ago.
We killed Soleimani. Without Soleimani, if they had Soleimani, it would be a whole different thing. Maybe. Would still be winning, but it would have been harder because we are obliterating that country.
Well, Soleimani's niece entered the U.S. on a tourist visa in 2015, eventually secured asylum, then obtained a green card. Despite frequent trips home back to Iran, she sought relentlessly during her time here to become an influencer on social media. Her daughter came to the U.S. that same year on a student visa and essentially never left. She, too, spent much of her time promoting herself and her American lifestyle on social media platforms. Harris, the hypocrisy here, I mean, barely warrants a mention. It is self-evident. If these women were back home living under the rule of the regime they say they love, they would not be allowed to post on social media. They would not be allowed to go out in public alone or even take selfies. They would not be allowed to attend college or school. They would be living under Sharia law. It would be a very different situation. Harris?
Jillian Turner, thank you very much. Former Department of Homeland Security advisor and former Secret Service agent Charles Marino is with me now. Charles, a lot of people have been asking, how in the world did they stay here? That nobody ever said anything after, their relative being annihilated in Trump's first term. We know that he was an enemy. The military took him out.
Well, a question to be asking right now, especially since it appears that as a country, we still haven't learned the lessons of September 11th, 2001, where shortly after those attacks, the Saudi government requested that the FBI assist in relocating over 24 members of the bin Laden family after that attack. We knew he was leading al-Qaeda. We knew he was an adversary of the United States. And yet we had 24 of his family members here in the United States. And this is the same situation. I think the American people would be shocked to learn how many people we have allowed into the country, either through claims of asylum or on student visas or tourist visas, that are associated with adversarial countries, including the leaders of those countries. This needs to stop. We have got to understand that countries like China, for example, who continue to exploit American universities for the theft of intellectual property and destruction of scientific data, etc., continue to flood and exploit the immigration policies of the United States. And I don't think the American people should have to learn another tough lesson through another act of terrorism to understand that our policies are backwards right now. And some of our elected leaders continue to bury their heads in the sand and live in this augmented reality that just doesn't match what's going on the ground.
Look, having worked at DHS as an advisor, I mean, you know the details of what it can cost us, not just with 9/11, but just overall, it sows the seeds with other enemies. Like, well, maybe we can go to America after hating them and threatening to kill Americans and become an influencer. A new editorial with this headline, California should thank ICE for arresting Iranian terror generals' high-living relatives. And here's part of that. It is unusual for the face of America's sworn enemies to support the bad guys so openly while enjoying the California sunshine. Soleimani's relatives must have thought they were immune. After all, they lived in a sanctuary state. But as Rubio noted, Secretary of State, a green card is a privilege, not a right. And you cannot support America's enemies and expect to stay in the country. Charles.
Well, and I don't think the administration is holding their breath, waiting for a big thank you from Gavin Newsom, just like they wouldn't get one from Tim Walz or Governor Hochul in New York City.
Oh, they
These
probably mad
sanctuary
about it.
jurisdictions are actually more likely to take the side of those that have been deported, no matter their association or the reason why they were here in the country. So, look, we are one of the most lax countries in the world when it comes to our border and immigration policies. And we saw that to an extreme under the Biden administration. And now the Trump administration has a great deal of catching up to do through Marco Rubio at the State Department in terms of vetting. Vetting that wasn't done.
Charles, I need to pull away. Please forgive me.
Was done.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Well, I will say this. I don't think there's been much change on the situation. I don't think there's going to be one.
Iran's oil exports hinge on Karg Island.
Yeah, see, I'd bomb all that shit. All that shit would be gone. She just pulled away. He's probably used to it after looking at him. Oh, shit. You know what would be some shit is if America just, they shouldn't even, if they'd have just went out there and started putting oil rigs off the shores and just started taking their fucking oil. Just started drilling in international waters. You talking about, they'd have been pissed. Yeah, you don't hear them talk about them wells shutting off anymore, do you, Copper Top? Have you noticed that? 172 million barrels of oil. That was 2 months ago. I don't know. This shit's gonna fucking work out, but oh shit. Last live before the final episode drops. We'll just see what Chad.
Can't really lay on you, which isn't a problem, but
So if you guys can hear us like a true professional, I guess that means, well, because we were right on time. Yeah, as you can tell behind us, we've had our garage flood 4 times in the last couple of days. So it's ruined our floors. It's been a huge mess. We've been dealing with that. So we're going to wait for a minute. We're trying to let a couple people pop in too. Just doing another final kind of Q&A before the final episode comes out tomorrow. Now, I know previous times we always released it earlier, but this one will come out tomorrow. We're making all the final changes. Want to make sure that it's we get our point across. That's the main thing. So if you guys have questions, we'd love to take some questions tonight and talk about that and then go from there. John Rich flooded my basement. Well, it's more like our studio. It was a garage at one point, but no, he didn't. The guy that done the previous French drain that did it incorrectly is the reason we are having worse water problems now than we ever had. So, but we got some friends coming tomorrow.
I'll get it. I'll stop out there and get it in the morning.
Kind of thing. So we're going to give it just a second. I see my moderators are tuning in. We're going to try to keep it polite and cordial. Look, we don't care about the opposing views, but this time, if someone comes in, they start using excessive profanity, that kind of thing, we're just going to give them the boot. So if you
Martin, you fucked it up
just
for
please
everybody.
remain calm as you can, and let's keep it positive.
Jerry Ray, welcome to supporter. Thank you.
Oh, and that's another thing I'll say right now. So for the people, anyone who has signed up as on the members platform through YouTube will be listed in members producer credits on the final episode. But the cutoff for that is tonight at midnight. So if you get in past that, we can't do anything. But if you've already became a member, your name's going to be listed in the final episode. So
Deplorable. Could we not?
just okay. What is going on? Michael Evans in the house. What's the deal with the tweaker and John? You know,
I kind of want Gotcha Man to be in here.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it.
All right, yeah. Please bring us back. Yeah, bring that question. We watched this video just a little while ago.
Jump on, Ryan. We know you're here, Pookie.
I kind of feel like Lil Larry signed up to be a member just based on the member name alone, which I find is hilarious.
You're talking about
Toothless, we are having a great day. We hope you're having a great day.
Yes.
Jerry Ray, love you. Thank you.
And we got a lot of content coming your way aside from this stuff as well, too. So we are ready to move on and put our focus towards some other things. Ride a cowboy. All right, we're just waiting hard. Tarjay, what's going on, guys? Hellraiser, what's up? What's up, chat? All right, is there any chance that thing are going quick? Lil Larry doesn't go to jail for drugs or something. Is there any chance that Lil Larry doesn't? I mean, allegedly, in my opinion, if people are doing their due diligence, there's no way, in my opinion, that this doesn't end with him getting a free place to stay for a period of time. So.
Love y'all's goats. We love our goats too.
Yeah.
We love them so much.
Yeah.
They're seriously, he talked me into, I've always wanted something else. He talked me into it by holding one. And of course I couldn't say no. And they've just been the most wonderful little things.
Well, I sound like
ever.
Carl there. She knew I like huskies, but I said no.
Well, when
Martin Speaks says he's sorry for his previous behavior. Well, I don't think he's
Party guy that was up there the other night.
No, your audio sounds good. Your audio sounds good.
No, I'm just
So we got the super entertaining Gotcha Man. We might have a couple more people pop in. Definitely gonna kind of keep it low key, unlike last time. I was trying to do a good thing, turned out to be not so good. So we'll take some questions. Anything you want to ask Gotcha Man, let me know. We'd love to talk about it here.
says Ryan had you watching Gotcha Man, don't lie. I never watched, but it makes sense now because he called me randomly and he was like, "What does Jerry mean?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "People keep calling me Jerry. What does Jerry mean?" And I was like, my grandparents would like use it when describing somebody who's dumb. So is that, or is it just an insult, I guess, to you? But
so just to clarify, yes, in the beginning when I came around, I was trying to watch all the negative reactions to stuff, but it got to a point where a lot of it was about me and I had to detach myself from that. So I was aware of several of the people that were doing stuff, but it got to where I stopped watching it just because there was things on there about me, and it's never fun to sit there and listen people that don't know you talk poorly about you, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, the Jerry, that's funny. He knows what it means. He watches everything, but he just wanted somebody else to explain it to him probably. But it's not as deep as what you think. But like just Jerry the Junkie just kind of just rings really well. And honestly, I may have to give that credit to man, I don't know. I remember being in a live
Blu-ray
one with
has
somebody
still got
and somebody said that
Blu-ray.
Jerry the Junkie.
Raise
And
hell,
you know what I
eat
mean?
cornbread
Like whatever
attached
Timmy
to
the
his
Tool
name.
Man. Like you know what I mean? Like
it
kind
just
of like
rolls
that.
off the tongue.
It does, yeah. So but this is going to be awkward, and I hate to do this like on your live and
No, it's
say
all good.
this now.
I like
But
awkward.
you might, but so I have to apologize. Apparently, he doesn't need help, and he's doing really well because, like, he posted a video on a jet ski today, so that means he's completely fine. And so I have to retract everything that I've said for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, dude's okay. Yeah,
Was it
turns out
Todd
he's
Rich's
all right.
house even? I mean,
Yeah. So if you're out
he
on a jet
right?
ski on the lake, that means that you're good to go. He even said in the video, help him, you know what I mean, to let us know that he's okay.
Mhm.
So I apologize to you and everybody else for that.
Yeah, all good, dude. I totally
Yeah.
understand it. That's a valid
Yeah, I
point.
didn't know. Like he didn't, you didn't tell us till now, Jerry. Sorry. You know what I mean? I thought you needed help or whatever, but apparently you got a jet ski.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if he now has a jet ski, because to my knowledge he didn't have a jet ski allegedly, in my opinion, when I was around. But if I were the Rodney's lawyer, I'd say, hey, I want that jet ski as well.
Yeah,
I'll take that too. So
100%. It might be in.
I don't think them
the
people
U-Haul
want
driver's
anything to
name.
do with water.
Let me switch
Just
over
in
to
my
my
opinion.
garage Wi-Fi. I don't know why I'm not on my garage Wi-Fi.
No, you're good.
Because it's going to start cutting out if not. Hang on.
I saw where you had posted some video of a U-Haul truck at the house, and then I got a call today, allegedly, in my opinion, that there was people overworking at another house, the pool location.
What's
so I was
up,
kind of
Potential?
wondering, maybe is he moving to Does he think he pulled some kind of like outsmarted everybody at the last minute? You know,
That's
who
what I wanted.
knows?
I thought he was trying to get the Pokemon lot out of there and needed
That could, hey, it would fill up a U-Haul truck for sure. It would fill up a U-Haul truck. All right, hey, we're
At least
gonna
we
bring
could-
this one in too. Let's go.
Hopefully I don't drop off. Hold on.
You.
What's up,
Joe?
Chill Rock?
Chad, Chelsea.
So-
Gotcha, man. It was good.
Damn, where are you? Are you downtown Nashville right now? What's that in the background?
Me, oh, this is a little AI green screen.
Okay, I said,
created.
damn, he's living it up, dude.
I wish.
Chill Rock. Am I back?
It's good. Got you, man.
Did that
You
work?
never went nowhere.
You never went anywhere.
Sick.
So I figured we'll just hang out, and if any questions you guys think of, any questions that people have, this is like the final live we do before the final episode drops. So you guys got any? I'd
I'm
love to hear
curious
kind of
to
like
see
your
what they
ideas of
play
where you
tonight.
think the final one's going to go,
That's what I was
without
gonna say,
giving
too.
away too much, allegedly.
Right, in my opinion. That's what I was gonna say. What's up, thoughts of a predicate winner?
Yeah, can we send? I'd like to bring
What's up,
him
Nelson?
up. Let's bring
Yeah.
up thoughts of a predicate winner.
Jerry Ray, what up?
You message him on Instagram.
Up.
I'm
And
gonna
if
have.
anybody's got any questions for me too, because like I get all kinds of crazy questions and comments.
I have a question for you. I've been
Okay.
waiting to ask this all day because I did go back into your channel and try to kind of suss out where all of this started with Ryan. And I heard a comment in your video today where you're like, I don't even listen to country. So how can you, and I guess I want Chill Rock's answer to this too, is like, where did your Jerry journey start? Like how are we here right now?
That's an awesome question. I'll go first. So I had a buddy of mine that I went to high school with that I hadn't seen in a while, and I went out there and I was helping him remodel his house, and he had come across Jerry, and I believe it was the what's the Range Rover song?
YZ.
YZ, yeah. So he had come across that and he had sent it to me. He'd sent me this link and I watched it, and I had set my phone up on his Bluetooth there at his house when we were remodeling or whatever. And he had like played a few of his songs and it kind of got Jerry in my algorithm. Well, then like, I don't know, maybe a week or two later, he posts this video where he's definitely saying that he definitely didn't go and buy cocaine in Fairview in his Lamborghini. And I just remember being like blown away by it because like my buddy loved him so much and was like, dude, this guy's awesome, man. He's independent. He's doing big numbers. He's doing big things. And I was like, yeah, but like, why is he defending like this cocaine story or whatever? And I was intrigued by it. And so I immediately made a roast video of like, who does that? You know what I mean? Who defends like some rumor like that and then comes out publicly and tries to get ahead of it? So
Thank you, Hellraiser. Go ahead,
I
sorry.
seen right through it like at the beginning.
Mm.
And it wasn't long after that a certain other crackhead in Primerville, Kentucky, started shooting his shots at him. And so then that dude piggybacked off of me and was like, man, I like the stuff that you're saying about Ryan. We ought to collab together. And it just kind of steamrolled into like what it is, you know what I mean? But from way back then, I was like, this dude, whatever, he's got a hit song, you know, but I would have never heard him if it wasn't for my buddy, Zach is his name, that I went to high school with. I would have never knew who Jerry was.
Zach.
I don't listen to country. I don't listen to none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I saw one question come up, not to cut you off, but I do want to
No, you're
address it. Someone had commented basically like, how can you bring a Gotcha Man or these guys up when they were talking about you and your wife months ago? And like, I don't know the whole story on it. I know a lot of people were, but let me give you my side of it. First off, as someone who has made a lot of bad decisions in their life and fucked up a lot, I'm the first one to not judge someone based on their interpretation of the situation, because all they saw me was taking sides with the enemy. So then I became the enemy. When I came back around, I already knew that people were going to draw lines in the sand, and I did what I thought was best for my situation and also to help him, you know? So now that that's happened, I am completely forgiving because I myself want to be forgave for the things I've done in the past. So all that's water under the bridge to me. And I hope that now a lot of these people have different interpretations of who we are as people. And if they don't now, maybe eventually will. So that's my answer to that question.
Bro, Rusty.
Well, I tell you what's
Rusty
funny about that is,
it's
and
kind of
like
like
one of the
me, man. He doesn't want to really bash Ryan. He wants to see him kind of recover because he knows somewhere deep down inside there's a good person there. No matter what these people say. Ryan has fucking got off the rails somewhere, but at one time that kid started out as a decent person. And you have to admit, when somebody fucks with you all the time and fucks with you, it's going to make you lash out, you know? And
I don't know.
no, Gotcha Man said something a long time ago about the Streisand effect. And it's true, man. This shit's had the Streisand effect. But yeah, Rusty just don't want to bash.
Times we talked on the phone, you were like, I know you probably, you know, talk shit about me or whatever.
It
or
is
you had thought I had.
potential. It
And it
really
was funny
is.
because I was like, nah, I don't remember. And I looked back to verify that. And the one thing that I caught myself saying was, because everybody was like, he's a devil worshiper. He worships Satan, blah, blah, blah. And there was a clip of Ryan saying that you went out to get the lawsuit paperwork for Deerdorf's lawsuit, I think it was. But you had cut through the grass in Ryan's security video. And I was like, oh, yeah, he definitely is a Satan worshiper. Who walks through the grass like that when it's the middle of winter and he's going to kill the grass? And that was the, yeah, that was the extent
That's
of
funny.
like, me talking shit about you. That's all I could find. And if somebody else can find something else, you know, I'm open to it. But that's all I remember ever saying about you. Like,
I like the
just
shit
don't-
talking when it's good shit.
Yeah.
Dude. Go in on people.
I've commended a lot of people on their good jabs. Like some people have had some great ones. Like I am so appreciative of the 50-year-old Fallout Boy. I love the fact that people referred to me as the Trailer Park 50 Cent. That doesn't feel like a diss, man. That feels like a badge of honor to me. You know, I love the people said I was the prison version of Drew Carey. Look, I've been called Drew Carey for years now, ever since I got black frame glasses. So I'll acknowledge the good ones. You know, it's the
Holy
hateful
shit.
ones.
Yeah, the Drew Carey. Holy
I wanna
shit. Yeah,
hear-
that
I
one.
want to
actually
hear
was
Chill
pretty
Rock's villain origin story.
Yeah, and then we'll get back to some of these questions.
For me, it wasn't really that long ago. It was like around the time where Broadway had dropped. And he wanted to get the remix out before that. Was it Chase Matthews and Lil Durk? Yo, what's good, Nelson?
Yeah.
I believe, and he tried to hurry up and put it out in front. So that was the first song I ever heard from him. And from there, everybody would flood me like, yo, react to Ryan, Creek Squad gonna always show up. These are the list of songs you should check out. You're gonna get views, you're gonna get subscribers. So I was like, hey, why not? Like, I'm starting out, I'm still growing my channel. And then fast forward, it got to I was defending him for everything he did, like when he was going against Heavy Duty Country. I was just blindly listening to Ryan's side. I never took the chance to like listen to Heavy Duty. I didn't listen to nobody else's. Screw everybody. I was just like, no, Ryan's right. Everybody wants to go against him because he's the biggest. Fast forward a little bit more, the battle came. I was covering stuff. I'm like, are people going to drop diss tracks, or are we going to be commentary channels now? It was like I wasn't a reaction channel anymore. It was like I'm covering when Adam pissed something out, when Church pissed something out, and I was just, you know, paying my commentary on it. And then it got to a point where they just dropped those diss tracks, and I just made my decision, and I was still staying in the middle, but
the
fans made me choose a side.
Yeah, and welcome, Nelson.
What's up,
We
boy?
appreciate you as well.
Good.
One thing I'll say is, look, we all made some bad decisions, or at least I did. You know, I went along with a lot of stuff that now looking back on it, I'm ashamed of, and I'm sorry for that. I've tried to reach out to everybody that I felt crossed by my decision to work with him and to placate to some of the things he was involved in. But I think that's what makes a difference between being a man and standing up and saying, hey, I fucked
it's
up,
definitely
and
over.
let's move on from it.
Bulldog. It's definitely
What's going on,
over.
brother?
What up?
What's
How
going
we
on?
Can y'all
Good.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now when you get closer to your mic.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm chilling,
we did
man.
have-
I just saw y'all on here. It's exciting.
Yeah, I tried to hit you up on
Finally getting to connect
Instagram. I
with
wanted to bring
everybody,
you on. Just we'll answer some of these questions and we'll get to that too. So where are we at?
Okay.
Hellraiser, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
He said he's the only person we've ever donated to on
Hey,
YouTube.
Deb.
Swear to God, it's because you stood up for yourself and did a good job in the process. Take care. Thank you. And that
Yeah,
really means a lot.
I appreciate that. And let's go to some of these highlighted and we'll try to pick up in a minute. In your opinion, what happened with Kid Rock concert? He said he didn't do the concert because of the pick they used. What's the real reason? Now, this is allegedly, in my opinion, the dude hates to tour. He hates touring. He's not. He doesn't have what it takes to be in a touring band. This guy would never have lasted like some of me and my friends doing 130 days out of the year on tour, living in a van. He doesn't have the stamina. He doesn't have the
allegedly
practice.
it's because he doesn't have the hookups to get out and tour. DTs are a motherfucker. Allegedly.
Tracks. Now, this is my opinion. It would be a terrible concert, and some of y'all have experienced that. So that's my opinion.
Or the right size pants, or a guitar full of Adderall. But I wanted to say one thing, according to other people. But no, I was listening to Chill Rock the other day too, and this was like, I wanted to give him his props and respect for it. Like, he was talking about the same subject in a video recently, and he was like, you know what? Like, Ryan, I guess, had jumped in and they gave him like a $500 super chat. And he was like, you know, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, somebody throwing me that kind of money, you know what I mean? And it does. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you don't want to be bought. You don't want to be influenced by money. But, you know, somebody throwing you $500 and you don't have any reason to question the guy, like, it could definitely sway.
And I'm going to tell you right now, when Ryan did that to me, when he gave me the $500 super chat, that changed my opinion because I knew what he was trying to do. And I was like, why did you do that, man?
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. I knew right then.
In my opinion, that's just another example of him trying to, you know,
buy people.
Whatever, kind of get the narrative to go the way he wants it, you know, shape it the way he wants it, you know, I'll pay you or whatever. A lot of people are saying the same thing, like, man, I'm sorry, you know, I shouldn't have done what and said what I did or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And Nelson, if you got any questions, man, I kind of stumbled upon you and your channel, dude. I appreciate the support, man. I feel like you were able to kind of read between the lines. And from what I understand, you kind of bring a different kind of perspective, like more of a religious
out of fucking control.
Perspective.
Yeah,
and that's just how I interpreted
until
it.
There's nothing
I
left.
appreciate you, and that was the thing.
Who wants to work with him, right? You can't do this shit on your own. No matter what he tries to say, you got to have help. Who wants to be fucked up with somebody who's going to run around and talk shit about you and or try to hold you underneath their fucking thumb? We've all worked for somebody like that. That shit don't last very long. I'm surprised he made it last as long as
I could
he
bring
did.
you up, and if you had any kind of questions that were still lingering for you that we can help with.
And something I noticed between pretty much everybody is everybody comes from a background of healing and we've all gone through something. We've all gone through something terrible, and we probably weren't the best people going through those times in our life. And everybody's on the other side.
Like, hey, I'm good over here. But
yeah,
I was just gonna say a minute ago, imagine thinking that your investigative skills are so marketable that these people are going to be on the edge of their seat waiting for this UFO stuff that you're getting ready. When you couldn't even in the face of everything admit that a poor little girl had died, you know what I mean? Like, you couldn't figure that out, right? And you're paying for that. But then also I noticed
expendable. Everybody's a stepping stone. It doesn't matter how much of yourself you give to him, how loyal you are, how hardworking. It doesn't matter. If you don't fit the bill right there in the moment, then you're expendable.
That's evident.
Yeah, there's no genuine care for people at all, as you can see from, you know, Ripta said Felicia played counselor for him in her more hours than I ever cared to admit. It's insane looking back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Chad and I have done the same thing. There have been times we'd gone over, and during, you know, rough times, we'd stay the night and just try to be good influences and positive influences. And that's the thing, is you can ask who is in his life right now that's been in his life.
Yeah. And I see people talking about bringing Cashville up. I have no interest in bringing Cashville up. I've never spoke illy of that dude, and the fact that he even placated to some of that stuff, I have no love for that. I don't want anything to do with him. I think it's funny that he starts reaching out to other people once he gets fucked over in the last week or so and wanting to work with me. That's never going to happen, dude. I have nothing, you know, I don't wish any ill will towards him, but I don't want to see his face, and I'm not going to bring him up. He use his own platform to do what he wants to do.
Yeah. What y'all are saying about Ryan too, about how y'all try to help him so much, to me, that's the worst kind of person. Is like, they know that in those moments that you're helping them. They ask for it, they reach out for it, and then they turn around and shit on you and put you to the wayside as soon as they get the opportunity. And then so they don't look bad, they just throw everything on you. That's happened. I've got burned like that like 3 or 4 times in my life. That's the worst. And I don't know, man. I'm like even passionate about it, about it just sucks when people do that, I guess.
Yeah.
He basically puts the
Hell
person
yeah,
away.
info.
Yeah.
One thing is just going to push everybody away that ever wanted to help you. And just like Ripta was saying, like they dedicated all that time to him. And it's funny because Triple T just uploaded today some Instagram stories from last year when Ripta moved out. And it was, the same thing. Like just completely throw him under the bus, talk to him like he's trash and say, and had the nerve to say, well, Ripta's daughter's going to grow up and know that you lived with some man or whatever. And sure, you can paint that narrative and make it look like Ripta was just living with you, because he had nowhere else to go. But there's also the other side of it where Ripta and his wife like gave up their goals, life, future to come move in with you and help you out. Like nobody ever like sees that coin from the other side.
Yeah.
And it's because he doesn't allow anybody to do it. And some of these people are so simple-minded and he relies on that. He relies on these people to have no depth. Like they just take everything surface level what Ryan says. And it's wild.
Yes, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
And we were never that. Like, that's the thing is we weren't yes men. I would tell them when I thought something didn't sound good or when I thought something was wild. Now, I did it in a very white gloves kind of way, almost baby it, but we would say, what we thought. And when it got to the point he wouldn't listen, I just shut the fuck up. I mean, that's the truth. What's these guest connection to Upchurch, Waffle House says all of them react on them. They've kind of seen it all go from behind the scenes and
Former Creek Squad.
Yeah, former Creek Squad. It's almost like we're what's the kind of group I'm thinking? A support group. This is the support group right here. So yeah, that's the connection. Wasn't he paying you $20K a month, $240K a year? It was actually more than that. And that wasn't enough. And I would never, he could have said, hey, stick around for $1 million a month. I said, no. The moment you go down and you start talking to the cops and trying to file false police reports on me about something that is easily verified through my phone, through the accountants, through everything else, that was enough for me. I was fucking done,
I mean, being drugged around at 3 o'clock in the morning and all that, like, I can't imagine, man. I really can't imagine.
Yeah, so your money's off, but it still wasn't enough.
You think that he's worth 17.5?
No, absolutely not. Allegedly, in my opinion, he's probably at this moment in his life, he's worth probably about negative $10 million.
Wow.
And I know, and the catalog's not worth that anymore. There might have been a time where the catalog was worth, what he's held on to for some years. It's not worth that now. It is not worth that now.
I keep seeing someone scroll back up real quick, just a little stop. Someone said, have y'all even had one Ryan supporter have the nuts to come on live yet? We had one who's in this chat and it was about 5 seconds of trolling.
Just saying.
Nobody's come up to have a discussion.
Yeah, just saying Chelsea.
Yeah. So nobody said like, hey, this is why I support him.
Look, and that's the thing. If you're a supporter of him and you're watching this and you can come have a call, I am intrigued. I really am, because I've never liked any artist so much to believe in everything they say and do. Like, and I have idolized musicians over the years, but not in that kind of way. So I find it very intriguing. I would love to have a real conversation and not one where anyone's going to attack you. I just want to know what it is. How can you look past all these things and continue to look past all these things?
Yeah, sad thing is you won't never get what you're looking for though. Like, like so I would like to know too. Like there's a certain one in here asking over and over too for the link, and I mean this guy can watch Jerry, literally spiral down the drain and do everything he's doing, but still take 8 to 12 hours out of his life to make like little goofy mean pictures and like send them to me, Triple T. Like I don't get it. Like, and I can tell just by what you do there that nothing you say is going to be intelligent enough or coherent enough to like make sense. Or seriously, it's embarrassing almost. Like he just like takes my I've got like 147 message requests from the same guy, and it's like, dude, you do realize that like I'm not Ryan's counselor. Like I'm not in charge of the future, right? I'm just a guy saying, hey, look at this train wreck. You know what I mean? Like if you want to fix that train wreck, like go speak to some of the engineers that work on the railroad. Like I'm not any part. Like I'm just a guy saying, hey, haha, this guy sucks. You know what I mean? Like. But your efforts.
It's flattery, though, bro. It's flattery. Yeah, you have to take that as flattery. It's like, okay, I'm pressing a nerve.
It's crazy, and I would, whatever. Like, I would pull for you, buddy. I hope that you're doing okay, and I hope that you know what I mean. Like, like this is very important to you. Like, so, but my question would be,
this motherfucking
if I got on one day and I seen your picture of me,
funny.
Like, whatever, like this different scenarios that you put me in, and I go, all right, that's it. This picture's too much for me. I quit. I'm never gonna make fun of Ryan again. How does that help Ryan? You know what I mean?
Well, that's
true. Ryan okay after that? You know what I mean? Like, is everything gonna be better? They're gonna, they're gonna avoid the $18 million settlement because you got me to stop talking about it. Like, you got to ask yourself these tough questions, my guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't fix anything. Like, he's
gonna find out real soon for sure.
I saw Ripta said, I moved mountains for that motherfucker, and in the end, all I got was some debt and a front row seat to some of the wildest shit I've ever seen. Still wouldn't change a thing, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, now that we've been removed from it, like
this is the second time we've been removed.
Yeah, but the first time was, I promise you, it wasn't like this, but also we didn't spend the same amount of time with him. We were bouncing all over it. We weren't just working with him. We were working for a variety of other artists up until probably the last year and a half where we worked directly for him. But even then, we spent time with the crew. We didn't, he would kind of pop in and out of things. So we were more bonding with the guys in the band, the manager, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and Omni said something really, let's see. He said something about, was there and then met Trevor and some other people through it and created those bonds and those friendships. And that's kind of how it works is, everybody is still in communication. Like, I mean, truly almost everybody is still in communication or at least can have a kind conversation with each other. Yeah. The only variable that can't is Ryan.
And there are a lot of, I didn't anticipate this happen, but there are a lot of good things that came from this for us. Cause for one, we were able to get closure. We were able to heal, but I was also able, it inspired me to reach out to people I haven't talked to in a long time, make some good apologies.
Yeah,
my life
Definitely
that,
for
that
the
I'm
money, for
very
sure.
thankful for. Other people
I
that were
don't
great
think
people that pretty much stopped being creative too because of him. And a lot of these people are kind of re-inspired now. So there's been a lot of positivity come from this very
I
negative
think
thing.
we got you.
Everything
though.
happens for a reason, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
That
Let's see what we got over here.
a lot
like,
of it
appreciate
had
what
to
you got,
do
just
with
like Ripta was saying, like he rests easy at night
fans.
knowing he did everything
Once
he
he
could.
made the
You know,
first
that's a good feeling.
video,
Like it makes all the pain and heartache
and the people
worth
fucking
it
with
in
him
some
and
sense. So you're
talking
like, man, I did
shit,
everything I
he's
could. You know?
just
In the moment, like in the thick
he
of
was
it, whenever
over
Ryan
it. He was
just
like,
stops in
okay,
the
all
apartment
right.
that he thinks Ripta and his family and his babies are at. You know what I mean? Like that's stressful, but at the end of the day, he knows that he did everything he could. You know,
And
a lot of people
aside
around
from taking him by his collar and jerking him up and being like, "You're wrong, you're whatever, you're," because that wouldn't have worked anyways. If anybody would have done that, it had just probably gotten you shot, honestly. But I mean, it's crazy because we know exactly how Ripta feels. You have done everything you possibly can to try to better this man's life and in turn better the lives of the people around him, and it's still not good enough. And it's not because of anybody who's tried.
Yeah. And Ripta's a great dude. I'm not just saying that because he's sitting behind me. But me and him really did get close until after the situation. All of us kind of.
You got him, Ripta.
I'm sorry, Ripta.
Yeah, I was looking.
Ripta's good too. I'm talking about
Mind you,
Trevor.
I'm looking for
Oh,
Ripta in the back, like Ripta. I see
Look,
Trevor.
I'm old, okay? I'm old. Trevor is a great dude. And so Ripta, we hadn't hung a lot out together, but I've never had any bad experiences with him. But Trevor's a great dude. But we were all in this, like, living through this trauma. So when we left each other from his house, we didn't really hang out or talk because we just needed to get home and get reminded, why are we even still doing what we're doing, and get to decompress from it. So I never got the real chance to hang out with Trevor until this last, however many days, 40, 45 days. And I feel like we became close. We've healed together. I'm feeling more like a human being again. I feel like he's probably feels the same way. Yeah, it's just like, I'm just really thankful. I'm really thankful that I was able to get out of that situation and that things have gone in the direction they went. And you can't not tell me there's not some greater power involved just with everything that's happened to us. There's so much that's happened to us I can't even talk on just yet. Like this, the thing that I thought was be the worst thing that happened in my life might end up being one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I'm very thankful for that. And I didn't think that going in. I really didn't.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. It's an awesome way to look at it. And that's my hopes too, just for like, as a content creator in this space, man, it'd be dope if like the community spawns. Rock, I haven't even talked to you about this since I made that video, but I made this video where I was essentially calling out all these creators. Like, all right, like, are we going to beat a dead horse or can we move on?
Yeah.
But over the course of time, I've talked to Gotcha a few times about it. I just started to realize, man, there's really a responsibility there. It was wrong of me to dismiss that. So I apologize to you, Rock, but I feel like the more united that effort is moving into the future, the better off all of us are as content creators. It just sucks some of those fans like the one you're talking about that'll come up here and just troll. Like, I get it, bro. Like, I got a Upchurch fan. He thinks Upchurch is the GOAT. He's in my Discord. He's a member on my channel. But even I'm not going to say his name, obviously, but even he realizes, like, yeah, that's over the line. But I still think he's the GOAT. And I'm like, fair enough. You know what I mean? But it just takes, like, realism. Just people being real. Be real with yourself.
Yeah. I agree. Authenticity, you can't fake it. I see someone keep asking over the soft white underbelly episode. They said they liked it.
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to cover our stuff while we had these
Yeah.
guys on.
Yeah,
on
we'll
their
talk
time.
about that later. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll talk about it later.
We're not
for
ignoring you. Adderall is a hell of a drug, allegedly. Yeah.
Yo, paying $20 to say that is hilarious.
Yeah. But especially when you're taking handfuls at a time,
I'll tell you what, too, it makes you appreciate having clarity, right? Like, we would take it for granted if it wasn't for some situations like this. Like, yeah, if that dude just had some clarity in his life, man, it's sad. But nobody was even guiding towards it or like feel like they can. Like, it's
you stay up for a certain amount of time, bro. You're gonna start seeing stuff. I remember. I'll tell y'all one of my drug stories from whenever I was on drugs. I was up for probably just right at around 3 days.
Jesus.
And listen, I would swear it over and over again. I pull into my neighborhood. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, dark outside, and I hit a dog. And I get out, and the owner of the house is running outside. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I break down and I'm crying because I think I'm gonna end up going to jail. I got all kinds of drugs in the car as well, right? And then I kind of look up. And it's daylight outside. There's no dog. And I'm just like literally knelt on the side. That's how your mind tricks you whenever you're up for so long and you got these amphetamines pumping in your system. It gets tough, man. Like, a part of me, that's why I told y'all before, like, a part of me feels for him. But a part of me also realizes, like, you have to hit that bottom before you can bounce up, dog. It just is what it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. I saw someone, let me see if I can find it. Chad, I've liked Ryan for years because of some of his songs and followed him because of his funny beef videos I've seen. I'm not sure what to make of all of it. Get that? I think there comes a point sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist. It's okay if a song's good and you like it, but sometimes you have to separate it. I've had to do it throughout my life several times.
100%. I'm a Kanye West fan, so I told you.
Yeah. Well, you definitely got to separate it then.
Yeah, definitely.
I did see somebody ask about how many people are getting their like Creek Squad tattoos or their RTC tattoos or whatever covered.
She got hers covered, and mine is this fucking big on the back of my leg. So I'm going to get mine. I actually thought about having it burned off for this documentary.
I had my little moons.
Bro, don't burn it off.
Squad right there. And as soon as he posted the picture of that guitar, I went in and my buddy covered it for me because I was like, I'm not going to be associated with that shit. So.
Bro, don't burn it off. You could literally do like a circle with a line through it, man. Don't burn it off.
Yeah, well, I thought about that too, but I think I've got a way I'm going to work around it. It's pretty bold, but I'm definitely getting mine fixed here in the next couple months when I have time. Let's see.
Your main
I just saw
target.
one. They're popping up pretty quick. I don't know who Nick Phillips is. That's
Free.
okay. Just a troll.
That's a troll. Yeah.
Nick
Okay.
pissing people off, boys.
Okay, it's fine. We'll
He,
keep blocking him.
he
It's all good.
begs.
Nick Phillip is definitely a troll.
Yeah,
He's
poor
the one
guy.
that came on last time, and then he got blocked, and then made another account to come in here. And
Okay.
then waited, subscribed, waited 5 minutes, so he could keep commenting.
I saw this
And
one.
Third Eye. Whoever
I was
Third
a
Eye
heroin
is.
addict. I went through a county program to get on Suboxone. I guess then was on 28 milligrams for 6 years, and I went to being nothing sober for 5 years. Hey, congratulations, man! That's something to be
That is
proud
fire,
of.
man.
I've got
super dope.
I've got people in my family too that were addicted to opioids, and so I know the struggle. And
Not-
so
not
that, congratulations
Third
to you.
Absolutely. Those stories, man, like I love hearing stories like that. Like that's what keeps me going. And maybe like part of the underlying reason why I keep going on this guy, like to try to help him out in some way. But I like I was telling you the other day, Chad, like I wonder if this is like some sort of a lottery game, you know, like put it all on red. Like if I just double down, triple down and make the biggest stink, you know what I mean? Like get all this, the whole world looking at me for being a moron and saying somebody ain't real and losing this lawsuit. Is that attention, like, will the return on that be worth it? You know what I mean? Like, because people play these big number games, you know what I mean? And it's like, hey, if everybody's looking at me as the guy who just lost in a despicable lawsuit, will they give my album a shot to see if they like my music or not? Like, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know what his angle is, or if he's just that completely lost.
I don't think that's the angle. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's man. I don't know. I tried to figure it out. Like, you know,
When he
it
kept
would always
going-
be, it would be way more cut and dry if there wasn't. There's so many people that muddy the waters and make it more than what it. You know, it's always simple and cut and dry, but then you'll have these freaking morons that muddy the water and make it more than what it is or more than what it ain't or whatever. Like, you know, like the guy that messaged you and was like, "Oh, hey, don't mess with that gotcha guy." But yeah, he's a meanie and put flyers up in my town. Like, dude,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not that deep. Like, and if you honestly feel compelled to try to, like, are you trying to get votes? Are you, you know,
That's-
are
we've
you a
had
candidate in the next
people,
spring?
yeah, we've
We
had people
know
come to
who
us pretty
he's
much about
talking
every
about
single
there,
reactor,
don't
and it's like, don't mess with them, don't trust them, don't do this, don't do that, and it's like, you know, that's your opinion. We're going to form our own opinions, and if we get burnt in the process, then we get burnt in the process. But we're adults, we can handle it. But we're not, just because somebody messages and says, "Hey, you know, this person sucks," like that's up to us. Just like it's up to people to decide if Ryan sucks or not. And the thing is if you guys weren't around pointing out some of these things, like with him, the fans that are still around, with him posting, he posted about John Rich. There are going to be people that take that as gospel and say, "Oh my God, John Rich is doing that." But if nobody comes out and posts a video like Gotcha Man did, that's why I absolutely, because I try to stay out of it. I try to have some self-control, but that's why I posted my whole long story, because it's like there's the misinformation. I can't stand the misinformation. I can't stand slandering someone's name, which is why I'm going to say something. So if nobody says something, then there's going to be nothing for somebody to watch and be like, "Oh my God, this guy is not a reliable source of information."
Yeah, and I'm gonna let y'all handle that after the 28th, which is tomorrow. I'll let y'all handle it. Like, that's the thing. I see Chad. If Church apologized to you, would you forgive him? If Ryan got on an actual live and not only apologized to me, but he went down to the sheriff's department and said, "Hey, I'm sorry for lying about that. I wasn't in the
Never.
right frame of mind," and then he made a heartfelt apology, yes, I'd forgive him, but I don't want to be friends with him. I don't want to work with him. I just want him to do his own thing, and I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Super fair, man. That's super big of you, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like, I don't know, and I don't want to say more than what I should, but
absolutely.
I respect that for sure.
Oh shit! I'm trying to catch them guys as best as we can. Gotcha's Man video day is 100% truth of what Ryan's attempting to do. Yeah, I think I think everybody on this panel is really perceptive to things, just by the things I've seen.
So
And even before we all had any contact or communication, I can say with confidence that, you know, you guys never definitively speak on anything that you don't know about. And we've watched, like, in between Chad quitting and in between us interacting. And it's kind of the reason why we chose to have these interactions, is because you guys were, again, perceptive and you saw it for what it was, and the way you talked about it and how you're able to see it. You're very correct in
What's up,
99.9% of
Ribbit?
everything that you guys say. So we wouldn't be supporting anybody that would come up and just throw wild
Public
accusations,
enemy.
you know, throw mud and hope it sticks. So
And that's in our opinion. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I wouldn't like it's. I don't take that gift for granted to be able to see through stuff and see it for what it is. And I'm glad that I do, because I don't want, you know, it's always a fear of everybody. Well, people who have respect for themselves. Like, I don't want to be a fool and go the wrong
Good
way.
point,
But like, I
Drew,
can
good
usually
point.
see things for what they are.
But
without- I don't
when
need
your
anybody to tell
family's
me either, you know?
involved,
Same. Yeah.
when your
Yeah.
So any
family's
questions
involved,
about the next episode, man? I'm
and
fucking,
you
we've been
have
working our
to
ass
pay
off.
the
We've
fucking bills. I mean, sometimes you just fucking, I don't know, man. You just kind of let
deleted
shit
and
roll,
uploaded.
you know?
Nah, that ain't good enough.
Because you got a
It's
bigger
tomorrow.
purpose.
Yeah, we're gonna do it tomorrow, probably 8 p.m. Central. And it's, I know we said that several times and we dropped them early. That was a lot of strategy involved in those, but this one really is coming out tomorrow at 8 or 9 p.m. Central.
I just want to say too, it was dope seeing Leroy with you in that video and
Oh, yeah,
hearing
I
him
like
be
that.
inspired, and you know, somebody reaching out to him and helping him with his catalog and some of the money that's owed to him. Like that was cool to see that.
And I'm very excited for him. And that's probably one of like our intentions are to be in the country rap lane after this. Like I'm going to go do my own thing. I still want to stay in touch with you guys. Like I said, I want to eventually have like everybody come down and we'll create some content together. That's maybe not country rap specific, just to be able to be content creators. But my hope for this was at the end of it, when we walk away and continue doing our thing, that a lot of these people can let bygones be bygones, make some real heartfelt apologies, and unite. Now that whoever the king of country rap is no longer, maybe now is a good time for forgiveness and moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with that, brother. I'm with that.
And yeah, it is going to be our last episode. It's going to be the last episode that Chad and I make and put out under the Offbeat banner.
On social media and
we're
YouTube.
ready for some peace, a little bit of peace. We got our story out. Trevor got to get his story out, and we're happy. We're happy with it. And it's not the end of the story.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you have a story to tell, hey, there's 3 other guys on the panel right now. I'm hoping some other people feel empowered and finally come and speak out. So there's 3 other people you can reach out to, and still reach out to us. I'll still hear you out and try and connect with you on a personal level. We've done that several times throughout this process. There's a lot of people that just don't want to. They're still scared. They don't want to come out and speak out because they don't want the heat that comes with it, and I understand that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping there'd be some good questions in the chat. What's up, Missy Beach?
There's a bunch of it.
Yeah, there is.
Just trying to keep up with it.
The only thing Ryan has learned from the lawsuit is that Kylie is definitely real. Yes, guys, come on, man.
I hope so.
Yeah, you've got it.
I had some people messaging me earlier saying that he's in the comment section saying that it's not real, that people shouldn't believe the verdict.
Oh my God. I've got this. If someone popped off in here with the same thing, well, buddy, what are you going to say when they come put locks on everything and tell you got to move? What will be the story then?
The first headline that I saw about that, it said Nashville YouTuber hit with. I thought that was hilarious. That made him bad boy. That hit him hard.
Here's my question though: are you a YouTuber if you're only putting out 3 videos in 3 months? I mean, are you even a YouTuber at that point?
That's a good question, man. It's a good question.
You try to use the YouTube.
I understand.
Yeah, maybe an ex-YouTuber would have been a better way to describe that. Let's see.
Just pretend it ain't real. Go get a jet ski and go ride in the river.
Yeah, do that. He still thinks she isn't real, but John Rich is real. To my knowledge, he's never met John Rich. So how does he know? Under the way he thinks about things, how does he know he's real?
How about that formula though of like singing, like a little verse of their song, like or chorus or whatever? He did the same thing with Adam. He did the same thing with Jelly Roll, and he's doing the same thing with John Rich. Like he sings a little part of their song as he's like talking shit about him and saying like, nobody listens to you, but then he sings like the verse and it's the best.
Well, at least one person's listening to him because he knows the verse.
A song that's probably going to be in the top 100 country songs of all time. This man has probably more money than God because of it. I don't care if you don't know country. I guarantee Big and Rich, or you've at least heard at least one of their songs.
Yeah,
and
100%.
that's it's just envy, and it's just. I mean, oh God.
Yeah, if Ryan wasn't who he was and somebody seen him do that, they'd be like, oh, this poor sap's jealous. Look at this, locale or whatever.
Yeah.
But because of who Ryan is, they're like, well, wait a minute. What did I own that house? And it's dude, when do you lose that credibility?
Yeah, he used to have credibility, and you're right. It's the same formula over and over and over again. It's find a person, have a problem with them, connect them to something, mock them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's doing a voice for them or pointing out something about their physicality that he wants to emphasize, or and then that's what he does. And I think when he started doing that, right, and then a bunch of diss tracks with him. But I think when he started doing that, it was funny, and he was doing it to. I don't know. I'm not going to say that because I don't know if anybody ever really deserved it. And I could be wrong. I could be putting my foot in my mouth here, but it was funny at the beginning. And I think he got the reaction he wanted from people so often, and he kept doing it, got that like dopamine hit or whatever from doing it. And I think it just became a cycle in his brain that is pretty much unbreakable. And I think he just does it without even consciously being aware that he does it now.
Every time he went through a beef, he would try to get the beef going, and then he'll out of nowhere make a couple videos, and then he'll do the diss track, and then another diss track, and then your career is over.
Yeah, it's like clockwork.
Like that.
Yeah.
And that's why, you wonder why nobody wants to speak out. Why does nobody want to speak out against him or what? Even without, there was always that threat of like, oh, he's got money, so he can afford lawyers, and we can't call him on this stuff because we're just regular people.
ASAP, Chad, for you, do you think he believes what he says, or is it for attention? I think it's a little of both, in my opinion. I tried to figure that out. I really did. I would call him out on some things, and he would pull me to the side and even be like, "Hey, I'm just saying that for the other people in the room. I know you know it, but that's just for the other people in the room." So I don't know. He's
constantly playing a game in his own mind.
Yeah. I think in some aspects he believes his bullshit at this point. Yeah, I hope that that's the case, because if not, that makes,
it's super sad if not.
Yeah.
It's way sad. Yeah.
Ripta said, I got brown recluse bites, so I'll be in the shower a little longer tonight. I come up if that wasn't the case. Y'all just go ahead and eat dinner without me.
Yeah.
Ripta, I hope you have a great shower, sir. I don't know what you're doing in there, but hopefully it's never mind.
I understand Ripta. But yeah, some of the people that deserved it, I will say that for sure. Like if you're like a twacked out meth addict in Kentucky saying that you're mayor, and that dude definitely deserved it. And it's funny because it's turned tenfold on Ryan. Now he's the same person, and his mayor and everybody is this big conspiracy. And so that's funny.
I see. It says, what's funny in Save a Horse Ride a Cowboy is 319 million streams. That's a million more than Holler Boys. Yeah, it was a massive song. I mean, I'm not a big country fan, but I mean, that's the facts of it. People liked it, or it wouldn't have the streams it has.
Yeah, and we all know that one.
Yeah, and I know it.
was
I can sing it, and I don't listen to country. You know.
Yeah, same. I was introduced to Ryan's music through that beef. I had heard the YZ record, which that record's dope. I do think that record is dope. But the beef was like my first time hearing him rap, and I was like, I don't even know. Like, to the person that said earlier, like separating the art from the artist, I'm with you. But like I tried the art too, and the art's trash. Like to me, that's just to me. So I was like, man, I can't even rock with the art. Now he also has something to give him a little bit of grace. He had some song that he sung about heavier rain. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
He smoked that, bro. That was hard. That's his lane. If you get right, Ryan, if you end up seeing this, if you get right, that's your lane. Like do that sing-songy stuff, you're on it.
Oh yeah, Rip just said he's convinced he was experimented on by the government when he was younger, and I can't wait for that to be his final play. And I'll say allegedly, in my opinion, from somebody who may or may not have given birth to him. I heard that I was told he was born without tear ducts. Him and one of his other brothers, and when they were infants, had like surgery, and it's not a like 1 in a million thing. Like it doesn't happen all the time, but you know it happens. So the tear ducts were reconstructed, but he would say that he had like a copper implant or something put up there.
I've heard some of the wildest things about that.
It's like something to do with MK Ultra and other government experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the government got together. I don't know if you guys knew this, but years ago there was a top secret meeting that happened at the White House. They got together and said, "Hey, we want to change the world. How do we do it?" Well, hey, I think 20 years from now there's gonna be some country rap thing that's gonna take off. So let's plant this country rap artist, make him the biggest independent artist in the world, so we can feed him information to the masses. Does that sound logical to anybody?
At first, in the first half, you had me.
And then you saw his tinfoil hat glint in the sunlight. Like,
yeah, and that light bulb was not rechargeable. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, that was not something you could get off of Amazon where you touch the pressure plate and it comes on. That was just mind power. That was the government's implants and just pure brain power setting that thing off.
Yeah,
I actually did order a light bulb. And
I was going to do some of this light bulb content, but I've got so much stuff I filmed that I never use that I might hold for something, you know. Yeah. But and then she taught me out of a lot of stuff. You know, she taught me out a lot, which is probably a good reason why. You know,
it doesn't mean I'm not him on the world at a later point in time, but you know, there were some things. There was so much heavy stuff that we had to touch on. That laughter and that comedic, you know, relief was needed in interims. But I think after we get all of that out, who knows? You might see another Little Larry video one day. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know,
go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, like, and I don't mean this in a funny way whatsoever, but like the mental illness and his mom, allegedly, in my opinion, you know, like when I was first introduced to this, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, when I first started making videos, of like, yeah, this dude definitely got a call from his father about a cocaine deal or whatever. Like his father found me and reached out to me, called me, and was like, man, you don't understand. Like his mother, my ex-wife, she's really mentally ill. You know, she's way out there, blah, 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 you know, and like would just talk to me for hours, just spilling his heart out to me about all this family problem that he's had. And I was like, man, that's, you know, and that stuff is hereditary, you know, and she's so delusional too. We've seen her, you know, mingle with, rub shoulders with people, you know, whatever. I don't want to say names or whatever, say the wildest shit on here, you know, whatever. But I wonder how much of that, besides possible substance use, but, you know, like if his mom is that mentally ill, you know, and he believes he's part of some experiment, then it's probably not.
I try not to speak on the family because I do still care about most of them, you know, most of them have been good to us. You know, so that's kind of why I've strayed from that, talking about that, because ultimately I know that what they want is to have their loved one back in the capacity that he once was, you know? So, I hope they're all able to eventually heal from this, you know, because I do care about them, and some of them have been really good to us, you know. So I try not to speak on that, but
to even all haters out there, like we all want that. What you're saying, I believe. You know, I'm with you. That's deep.
We want everybody, like we will ultimately want everybody to be okay, but at the same point in time, when you have caused so much harm, done so much damage, and put so much evil out into the world, you have to be held accountable for that.
Yes.
There has to be some kind of repercussion for that. And for that, I hope that he gets
everything
that he deserves. And he deserves a lot. But there are casualties in that, being some of his family who definitely don't deserve that. So it's kind of a slippery slope, but there are several of them that don't deserve the bad that is coming, I guess, with, you know, he's got liens on everything. Like this isn't going to get better for him. It's going to get worse. Yeah. It might get better at some point in time, and it might be able to do something good for his family at some point in time. But right now, and you know, when he had the opportunity to do good for his family, he didn't. So I just hope that they can all find some kind of healing and move on, even if it's without him.
Yeah, me too. And the fans that he's hurt, or the fans that are misconstrued and confused. I feel that same way about them too. I'm just like, man,
some
wrapped up in loyalty, you get lost sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people probably have an identity crisis at this point. People that were like those hardcore fans, you know, they're starting to turn, you know, because that was their identity for so long, you know. Because he had a lot of us convinced he was like the archetype of what a Southern gentleman was, and then it just wasn't the case, you know.
And you know what, those people, and I hope they can rest easy in this thought process, is, you know, they supported him when they thought that he was a good guy. They supported him when they thought he was speaking out for good purposes and trying to speak out on the evil of the world. And I hope that they see that he is the cause of some of the evil in the world and don't hold themselves accountable. Like if they stop now, or they stop when they realize like, oh my God, he's actually not a good person, you know, don't beat yourself up too much about it.
C1 says, I feel sorry for his kid when she grows up and is going to see all of this. And I'll be honest, one of the main reasons I took a stance was my family, because at the end of the day, I knew maybe when they got older and they understood what I went through, that they would have some respect that I stood up against someone with such a powerful platform, thinking that I was going to be taken out and have to disappear from the internet. And I think there's a lesson in that somewhere, that stand up and do what's right, be truthful. I tried to answer everything he threw at me truthfully, even when it was kind of hard to talk about. I didn't want to talk about my past relationship stuff. I don't like talking to the masses about my criminal record. It's no one's fucking business but mine. But I knew I had to. I knew it was the right thing to do.
Respect.
Yeah, for sure. Just surprising there's not a single person around him that can set him down. And I guess not surprising.
No, and we tried. Maybe someone will, but it wasn't us, you know.
Well, it's so
that's not a shot at y'all. I think that's a shot at Ryan. Like, you have to be able to take some sort of criticism, right?
For sure. Okay, you take a take a piss.
Saturday.
So one of the anecdotes that I'll tell, and this is kind of how it was with him, is he'd come to one of us with an issue where there would be some kind of baseline thing. Maybe we said, hey, you need to call the police for this. Like, this is beyond our area of expertise. Like, reach out to law enforcement, reach out to so like if he came to me and said, hey, the sky's green today, why is the sky green? I'd be like, well, Ryan, there's some bad weather coming in. There's a tornado coming in possibly. You know, the sky does take a greenish tinge and blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, oh, okay. It wouldn't stop it like, oh, bad weather coming in. There's a tornado, whatever. It just happened. And sometimes it'd be, you know, well, Elon Musk must be out there with Donald Trump in the weather machine. And, you know, Kanye West is going to drop a new album on the 24th because it's 94 degrees. And if you take the, you know, exponential of this number and this number, aha, I've got it figured out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit, no, the sky's green because there's bad weather coming in. It was never good enough. It would never stop at that. So that's the best way that I can describe the chaos that goes on for something that should be so simple.
I can imagine the video of aliens. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just ad-libbing.
I can just imagine the video of aliens he's doing. Who's going to dress up? I am waiting on pins and needles to watch this alien video and see how I'm tied up in it. From what I understand, and now this is allegedly my opinion, my name was mentioned from the bench in his examination or whatever you want to call it. Somehow tied in with the Cajun Army. I wasn't even a part of that case, dog. Like that was wild. I cannot wait to get those transcripts.
Man, right, I got to head out of here, man. I gotcha. Pleasure. Chill Rock, always a pleasure. And it was great to meet y'all.
Same here. I don't know where I don't know where you're from, Nelson, but I would love to talk to you too about coming down and doing some content if you got any interest in that.
He said where?
Yeah, bro. I'm linked with you in the Instagram, man. We'll trade numbers or whatever. And I really appreciate y'all having me on. And I appreciate getting to know you guys a little bit. Y'all are sweet people, man. So I genuinely appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir. I feel the same way. Thank you, brother.
Y'all be safe, man. Peace.
All right, you too.
Peace out, brother. I was going to say my middle son just came here. He just got off his first day of work. I was going to talk to him.
Jack Rabbit.
Man, but I love y'all. Chill Rock.
I love you, man. I look forward to meeting you in person, man. Have a good night. Gotcha, man.
Like you said, you won't be able to talk on some stuff later on, but I'll talk on it, and I might come down the escalator and up an elevator. And
come down the escalator, not the elevator.
All right, I love y'all, man. Have a good night.
I love you, dog. Later.
All right,
thank you.
All right. Oh shit, wrong one. Oh no, wait. There we go. All right. All right, so just let us know when you need to go chill. We're going to probably rock it for another 20, 30 minutes. Let's try to get some of these questions. Just popping in. I guess I'm going to have to watch this from the beginning. Yes, probably so. Hold it down. Gotcha. All right, let's see. If y'all got some, let's pop them up here. Now it'd be easier to.
Up some questions.
Do we want to get anyone else up on?
If anybody else is coming up to have a discussion or wants to, you know.
Yeah, let's just keep it nice. Hit up Trevor, and then we'll have the moderators kind of mediate and make sure it's legit. And that's to include someone if they can have a conversation and be calm. We're not going to cuss you out. We don't want to be cussed out. But if you have an opposing view, I'm all about that. If you have a question that you think that you want answered by us, then we're all for that. Let's see.
There's so much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to go through these guys. I know we missed a bunch of them.
Goodness.
Any questions, Chill Rock, you could think of about this upcoming episode?
I have no idea. You said I don't got no more with the interview. The interview is out the way, right?
We're not going to use. There's more of the interview. Matter of fact, I have 3 more interviews like that one that are just as good and just as crazy. That I'm not. It all makes sense in the end, but there's a reason why we're not showing all of our cards. Can I say that? There's a reason.
Yeah.
We showed enough cards to prove our side of things, and we tried to only back things up with visuals directly from him. But there's a reason we're not showing all of our cards just yet. It will all make sense in the end. So is there a moving truck at his house today? I was told by 2 different people in the county that there wasn't. Gotcha Man actually has a video of it. So there was a moving truck. Now what it's for, I don't know. It could be a new shipment of those Japanese drugs allegedly. Maybe they finally streamlining the Adderall coming to the house allegedly. There's a bunch of different things it could be. I don't know why there's a moving truck or was.
I did see somebody sent me a comment that he responded on, and they sent it to me last night, and it was him saying that he's been taking his lawyer's been having him take weekly drug tests, and he can't wait to show the results to everybody.
Well, good.
Well, I just, Adderall, has a quick half-life, and in a week span, you can use plenty of Adderall and still piss clean on a Sunday and start using it on a Monday.
Well,
And that's
good.
if it's a legit
Yeah.
test. You know, if she's
Well, good.
having
I hope he
pee
is.
in a cup.
I hope he. I mean, based on what I've seen on the internet lately, he doesn't look drug free to me. But hopefully he is. He should get drug free and be the best person he can for his family. So I'm not hating on him.
It
for
does
doing
say
that.
a
That's
lot
great
that
news,
your
right?
lawyer's making
A
you
little too
take
late,
a drug
but
test.
still
I
great
mean,
news.
what the fuck?
I keep seeing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just gonna say that. To be fair, someone said hair.
Yeah, hair.
Yeah, that's the ones I want to see. Pull that hair and let's test that.
Bamboo, what up, Bamboo?
Yeah. Or some dip pouches. If anybody had any kind of dip pouches or anything that had saliva in it or anything like that, you know.
Someone brought up another YouTuber that they were asking a question about it. We're not going to speak on him. I saw a video like
Like if you had some of these like dip pouches that had saliva and stuff on it, I wonder what the test results would be. I just in my opinion, allegedly.
anyways, we're not going to speak on him because we saw a video of him being pretty gross and like vulgar towards a child. It was somebody that's been brought up before, somebody that's, you know, called both of us multiple times and tried to harass us.
Oh yeah, yeah. And believe me, some of these people that have been on the harassing side of things, we see you and we're not forgetting you. We're just not going to address it, but I feel it will be addressed, but it's not going to be in the way that you like. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it the right way. You know, so keep it coming.
Who they got to be
All right,
talking
so,
about?
Yeah, we'll do that because we're probably going to stop this at 8 because I've got a friend in and we got some things going on. Plus, we're nearing the end of the edit and we want to make sure that everything's perfect. If you want to hit up Blu-ray RHEC, BLURAY he'll vet you. And if you're legit, then we'll try to bring someone else on. Chill Rock, just let us know. You can hang out the whole time if you want.
Yeah, I'll stay until y'all done.
Lady Tracy said, can a family member have him committed? If so, why haven't they for his safety? So there is something called a 6404 hold in Tennessee. Some of you may know it as like a 5150 hold. I think it's something different in Florida. It starts with a B, but you can have somebody put on a 6404 hold, but it's a 72-hour hold and you can't hold anybody, I guess, after that. So I guess unless they have some kind of criminal thing where they have to get locked up after it. But yeah, you can't force somebody to be held after that 72-hour mandatory hold.
When's the IRS auction? I don't know, but as soon as I find out, hopefully it's an online auction because I don't think I can go to the property. But yeah, there's a few things I'd like to get back, maybe to come across the auction board at some point.
Yeah, Baker acted. That's what it is.
Does Ryan invest pumpkin patches? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, we're on Central, so we've got like another 25 minutes, if that makes sense. We're on Central time frame. Okay. Yeah, country. There's
no,
a
he said, damn, I heard like hell even playing like that.
oh, okay. I got you. I thought he was. It's like, yeah, I'd love to bring a supporter up that can talk and have a real conversation. I'd like to know.
Okay, so David Wesley was asking about the person that we're not going to name. Said, yeah, I was just wondering if Ryan knew he was a weirdo before he started paying him. I don't know.
What?
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah. Was the person that Ryan was paying to get stuff done on YouTube? Did Ryan know that he was a weirdo?
I don't know
before
much
that?
about that dude. I've only known what people sent us, and what was sent to us was absolutely weird. I mean, you know, but that's the thing. Other than doing what I was told and getting people paid, I mean, that was a normal thing, you know, that I'd have to reach out on his behalf to do something, you know.
So Progressive said many people told Ryan, but he ignored us all.
We need the sausage files, to be honest, or that's still marinating on the back burner. Hey, if you guys need to go, and there's one person that can satisfy that demand, and it's not me. So go talk to him. That's all I'm going to say. Go tag him and say, where is it?
They do that. They're going to get blocked and everybody's going to turn on them.
So I keep seeing people say stuff about 12-point. I haven't watched a single thing that he's done. Is he going in pretty hard? Like I haven't watched any of his stuff.
Yeah, because I try to, like, when people look, here's the truth. When people are going in hard on me, it's better for me just to not watch it all, you know, because I don't want it to kind of ruin my train of thought and how I move and that kind of thing. So I've really been trying to stay clear of that the best I can without friends sending me little clips and that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
I'd like to ask Chad a few
Tata
questions.
Nasty 813 said Ryan on the jet ski reminds me of the Eastbound and Down guy when they took all his stuff and he said all he needed was his jet ski.
Yes, we made that reference earlier. If you were here,
I forgot about the like all he needed was his jet ski part, and then apparently he was on a jet ski today.
got a
So
few
I don't.
questions for Chad. I'd like
Poetic.
to ask him.
That's great.
I
John
sent
Rich
Blu-ray
never write
message.
bars,
I
like,
don't know
rip
if
rap and I sing. I got
if he'll
working
talk to
on
you
my
tonight,
ding
but
ding.
we'll see.
That's- Damn, you're right, John Rich.
He's definitely not saying
yeah.
that.
What's
And, hey,
up,
we've never
MOL?
met John. I can't speak on John, but I can only tell you what people in the community say about him, and it's all positive. So
Lady Tracy said Deardorff was talking about his skis last week, so Ryan had to get one. That makes sense because that falls in line.
what started his hatred jelly originally? Because he was doing better than he was. It's that there's no big conspiracy behind it. He was doing better. Anyone that does better and gets more acknowledgement, he doesn't like that.
That was simple to me.
Yeah, and I saw someone ask too, was I there when they filmed that video? No, we were gone at that point. I wasn't there. I think maybe the first time I saw that video was probably with Ryan when he was showing me. Yes, he's extremely jealous of not just Jelly Roll, but anybody that's doing anything, even on a small scale, you know, where it shouldn't even be a worry to him.
Whitney 03 said, "Hey, Chad and Chelsea, was Ryan a faithful boyfriend?"
Allegedly, in my opinion, fuck.
I
no.
don't know,
And
Chandler.
allegedly, in my
I don't
opinion,
know.
I second that. Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
he's the
I
last
don't
person to
see
give any
why he
relationship
would
advice. That's
say
just my
that
opinion.
shit. You know
He's
what
also,
I mean?
by pity, the last person that needs to be critical of somebody
Who
else's
knows?
relationship.
Yeah, or how they look.
Mm.
I've never pulled my bottom teeth out with a set of pliers ever. Never. I've never done that. That's one thing I'll never have on my bucket list.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Justify 333 asked, "Did he do anything, or did he make y'all do everything, like basic tasks?"
Well, I will say this. I'll say this about him because I got to give credit where credit's due. To my knowledge, and this is in my opinion, he did wipe his own ass.
I would hope
But why
so.
John Rich? Why not George Strait? It just seems no. There's no randomness to it. John Rich does a lot of stuff in Cheatham County for the betterment of Cheatham County, to my understanding. And if anybody gets any shine on them aside from him in Cheatham County, he also doesn't like them, and that's just in my opinion.
So anybody that's doing anything,
Mm-hmm.
he's just
Anything.
like, man, fuck
Literally.
that person.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Why you don't just get with them? Like, yo, I want to connect with you, work, help give back as well. Like, he don't even look at it like that. He just want to be the main person.
Yeah, add the tooth to your collection. If I had one of those teeth, it would be encased in gold and it would be around my neck. I'd wear it every day.
Omni said, allegedly, in his opinion, he doesn't plug in his own cords, clean up throwing bottles of chocolate milk, often calling people from 20 minutes away to clean up after him, allegedly. And in his opinion,
Did he ever have a relationship with guys close to him, like a friendship? Or are you talking about something much more than that? I don't know about the much more than that. I have no idea. Here's what I know throughout being a 45-year-old Fallout boy and living my life and meeting people throughout the years. When I went to high school, a lot of the people that hated the most on, like, say, someone being homosexual and that kind of thing, years later turned out to be that. And that was just things I saw. And the way I feel, dude, whatever you are, just own it and be it.
Yeah,
People
right.
respect that,
but the trend for him has been he speaks out on the most.
Yeah. I mean, form your own opinion on that.
I mean, in my opinion, and allegedly, he goes out of his way to pick out things that are
Yeah.
even potentially homosexual, or he'll make them homosexual just to make fun of them.
Yeah. And I feel a lot differently in my 40s than I did in my 20s mainly because I have family members, I have people I love and care about that, that I hate even saying the word gay, but that's the best way I can describe it. And it's a non-issue for us. We love each other. We're kind to one another. Live your life, be who you want to be. You need to do one more live after the last episode.
Bro,
People
I
ask about
know
what's in
it's
it.
We'll have to.
We're going to do that.
That
We're
shit
also going to
was
do a
wild,
live
man.
coming up in about a
Hey,
week with someone else.
you
I think
hate
you guys
to
will really
see-
like it. What I'm trying to say is we're going to stop making the on that content side as far as no more trolling. The episodes will end on YouTube
Sorry
and
about
social
that, yeah.
media.
Maybe no more trolling, because some of the stuff you've done is pretty.
Yeah, but we got people like Chill Rock and Gotcha Man. They got that covered,
Yeah.
So you guys go add their channels. I'm sure they'll be going after it for a while.
Maybe who say?
We could go back to the projecting thing where he talks about things that
Yeah, in my opinion, he projects a lot of time. A lot of things he says.
Omni, I'm just reading a comment that was posted. It says, "You know how all those GOP guys get caught in the bathroom trying to get male hookers? Projection, and we all know Ryan B projecting allegedly, in my opinion." That's a great comment, Omni. And so can we talk about
HBR.
what people can kind of expect without giving any of the content away in the last episode?
Yeah.
You can expect to have your mind blown.
See, that's the thing I don't know. Like, I can't.
It's
think
gonna
of
let me
nothing.
tell you. Sometimes the way sometimes the way you perceive things may not be the way it ends up being. So we've tried to be nothing but honest and truthful, but we do have a really big thing we are going to talk about in this final episode, and that's all I can say.
I will say,
I don't
think
even know
that
where
there are going to be
Bill
people who
Rock
love it.
came
Yeah.
from.
Oh
And I
yeah.
know that there are going to be people who hate it.
Yeah. There's gonna be that too.
I know that there are going to be people who are kind of pissed off, probably.
Yeah, maybe a couple.
But also, it's not the end of the story. It's just the end of the story as we're telling it.
Yeah, that's a
I
good way to
respect
put it. I couldn't have said that any better. Got to go, but love y'all and keep doing what you do. Be real, love y'all. Thank you so much, Jerry Ray.
Peace,
What's the
Jerry.
percentage in your opinion that left the Tweet Squad at this point? I personally think he's got about 100 loyal fans and they got about 8 different accounts. And the reason I say that is because I've literally been hit up by several accounts saying almost verbatim the same thing. It almost like a copy and paste scenario. So I did
Yeah,
use it
fun
back
with
burn
that.
his pants. I don't know what that means, but no, I don't think I did.
No, his upchurch pants, his
His
jeans.
yoga pants.
Oh, no. Somebody say you look beautiful today. I agree.
Who? What?
It passed on. I called it
Oh,
real quick.
thank you. I had to fix up a little bit. We had some pickup shots to shoot, so
Yeah,
I
tying
can't
it all
always
together.
man, I don't always get gussied up. I usually have my hair in a bun, and I don't wear a whole lot of makeup. And I mean, it is what it is.
I love you the way
Just,
you are.
And
that's the thing. Like my wife is absolutely gorgeous, but our love is so much deeper than surface level stuff.
I mean, it helps.
For sure.
But if you weren't, sorry, Fox here. No,
Well,
but-
what's the castle story all about? Look, yes, allegedly, in my opinion, there was a point where Ryan was down at the castle. Allegedly, in my opinion, he's told me himself that things happened there without going in detail. What I do know is everything at that establishment is filmed from the time you get onto the property, and sometimes from many different angles. So you take that how you want to.
Okay, I'm getting a comment. Thank you, everybody who said something sweet. I'm behind on the comments, but thank you. And I've been trying to get like a dark green, and the girl who she was doing my hair, bless her heart, she just got done with school, and she was wanting to do the fashion colors and stuff, and it just always turned out a little too bright, and so I had to take a couple turns of my own to get where I want to, so I can have her maintain it.
Thank you, blessed mom. And then also I saw someone, to my knowledge, I don't think Kurt was around back then during that castle thing.
No. Oh,
there's my son. He's here. Expire 615. What's up, son?
I love you. So someone said Patty sent Dagbird and some of Ryan's jeans. Oh,
I don't know if there's truth. I don't know about that.
It's supposed to be tonight. Yeah, I know. That's just crazy. Why the fuck would they even talk
Invention or
about
exorcism?
They don't have no proof, and it's all
I'm a
just
fan of random church
fucking-
music for years, but I get it. I understand that. There's several bands that I love their music, but them as people, when I met them, were just horrible people. So
Tata said, "What does prednisone do? Is it a speed buzz?"
is it like a steroid?
It's a steroid.
Yeah.
It's a steroid, and from what I've seen other people, I don't know because I've never done Adderall and prednisone at the same time. I've actually never done Adderall that I can remember. And there was a wild couple of years there, so I don't know. But I think it intensifies. Maybe I know that the steroids add to like mood swings and weight gain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, what was the clinical term for it?
Some big old titties.
Yeah, there you go.
And then someone just said, "Oh, my favorite metal band, Zayo, is probably my favorite metal band of all time." Yeah, she's wearing the shirt. It's my homeboys. Go check them out. ZAO. Fucking probably one of my favorite metal bands. Been around since I was in high school. Let's see. They're coming in quick now. Yep. Often kids are putting Adderall in school. Yes, but yes, people prescribe Adderall, but I don't think there's any doctor saying take these by the handfuls and call me tomorrow. You know, I don't think anybody's saying that.
What I have seen, like going back through some of the stuff we've had to go
Sure
back
there
through,
is, man.
There's a very visible difference between Ryan's features. And I know that people change and stuff
Yeah.
happens like as you get older, but there are some drastic changes in some of his features.
Yeah, I mean his nose, especially, and that's just in my opinion. If he lost his hair, he'd be Despicable Me. That guy from that.
True. Aw.
Why did you condone his behavior when you were getting a paycheck?
Why did I condone his behavior? That's a very good question. So I tried to, we both tried, me and Chelsea tried to come in, repair some burnt bridges and advise him truthfully and honestly. But yeah, there were a lot of things that I just let slide and I shouldn't have. I've apologized if you hadn't heard it. I apologize again now. I was wrong for that. I was wrong for drawing a hard line in the sand.
You
And
cut a lot of people off.
I cut everybody off. I literally did. And I was wrong for that. And I will never do that again. I'll never draw a line in the sand. If I have friends that have problems and they can just have problems. If I think you're cool, then and we're okay with you. That's all that matters.
On that same token, you can lead a horse to water but can't make him drink. Is that the thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell somebody over and over and over again. It doesn't mean that they're going to take your advice
Yeah.
or they're going to act like a rational human being about it.
Yeah. Well, I saw another one. Last event. Can't wait until Ryan's transitioning.
Oh.
It took me a second. Church should meet Ren and Weeby. I don't know who that is.
Oh, Chris Webby.
Anybody to message me. So if
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, this future lawsuit with Chad's fake too. He did it just for show. It's a real lawsuit. Now, I think it's one that there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it. This allegedly, in my opinion, man, if I didn't know any better, I would say somebody who had no experience wrote majority of it because most of it is easily proven with subpoenas, allegedly. So, let's tune in. So, a couple more minutes and we'll get off
What do
here.
you
What
guys
you got?
think of stuff like Motionless in White and Slaughter to Prevail and stuff? I like older Motionless in White for sure. I like Alex Terrible's vocals. I mean,
Yeah.
they're incredible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're once in a lifetime vocals, but I've seen some of his political stuff that I don't necessarily agree with. But the music, I do love Slaughter to Prevail.
Yeah, I think they're both good bands. I don't really listen to them a whole lot in my daily life, but occasionally they come on a playlist and I let it ride. All right, a couple more guys. So tomorrow, just to go over we had to say it's either be 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Central. We'll have it set to premiere by probably a little after lunchtime. This will be our final episode on YouTube, and all the trolling on social media will stop. I was going to say commit, but it will stop. And we're going to move on to doing something else. We're doing Decent Person is a series. When we started, it wasn't going to be that way, but we're moving on to the next Decent Person after this and allowing other people to tell their story. But it won't have anything to do with Ryan. The next series of Decent Person, it actually would be the family of a female serial killer out of Florida.
I just saw Justify ask about Whitechapel. Whitechapel is probably one of my favorite
Tennessee
bands
boys.
of
Yep.
all time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Ben's actually was the guitarist for Whitechapel, came to our old house and laid down some guitar tracks. And super solid dude. I'm sure the rest of the guys in the band are the same.
Zayo, Norma Jean, August Burns Red. Yeah, all good.
Yep.
All great. Dead Kennedys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we've actually got an episode of Offbeat Horror that we went and filmed with Zayo, and I am finally, for the first time in a year, about to have some time where I can finish it and put it out there, as well as a big interview. I should come to the Redneck Rave. I'm not opposed to doing stuff like that if the invite was there. I don't know how most of those guys feel about me now because I took his side, but Let's see. I'm kind of upset about Whitechapel though. I heavily fuck with all their older stuff before the clean vocals started coming in. I love that's my favorite stuff, and maybe because I'm getting old, but I think that Ken album is my favorite one they put out.
I love it. But also the latest album that came out was an absolute throwback to the one after Somatic. So you can't be mad at it.
Chill Rock, did you get any shitty DMs where we donated the 500 and you still sided with Adam?
No, I didn't at all.
How long ago was that?
Dang, I don't even remember. Probably like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Whenever that all happened.
Yes, it's been a couple years in for sure.
Yeah, it's been a while now, like 2 years probably. When him and
Someone
Adam
said
had
the
it.
Phillies suck. I will say I have no beef with the Phillies whatsoever. We actually went to see My Chemical Romance in Philadelphia, and the Fanatic came on stage with them, and they were throwing out like cheesesteaks, and it was one of the highlights of it for sure. Like I've never seen the Fanatic in person, so that was really cool.
Amon Amarth, Macedon, Lamb of God is the peak of modern metal. Huge Amon Amarth fan. I recorded an album at the same place Macedon recorded a couple of their records in Atlanta. I met one of those guys from Macedon at one point, and they were nice dudes, or at least he was. What serial killer? Judy Bueniano. We're doing the Decent Person series will be more geared towards the family, and how literally false reporting by the media really tore the family apart. They didn't have any connection to the stuff she done, but ultimately it tore them apart, and it's kind of a story of triumph, another story of triumph against all odds.
Interesting.
The grandson does prison ministry. His name's Alex. He's in my Instagram, Alex Hawkins. You can find him, and he's over the last couple of years pulled the family back together. A lot of them changed their names and moved. FAFO radio scammer. I don't know anything about that. I know if it's who I'm thinking of, the guy is in like an active lawsuit with Ryan too, if I'm not mistaken, in my opinion. But I don't know much about that guy other than that.
So, Chill Rock, can you give us a little bit of insight into that? Like, we don't know much about it. Like, we were around when the lawsuit came in, but we'd never heard of that guy, and I don't know anything about him.
Oh, so I think it's Uncle Dub, right? So something about him calling him a crackhead or something like that. And then he proved to everybody that he could do a drug test or whatever. And he just kept going after him and kept saying stuff on his live every single day. Upchurch like literally came with his main account and was going after him.
So I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that whole thing. I just don't know. They were asking about the radio specifically.
FAFO radio?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, so I think he created like an app for country rap. So artists could put their music on there. And you could get radio spins basically with him doing FAFO.
Got you. So actual like radio spins, not like internet radio or anything.
Yeah. So that's
I'm not hating. Hey, look, Tyrone, I'm not hating on Dub. I don't know Dub. The only thing I know about Dub was the fact that he was suing Ryan, and I was hearing about it all the time. I don't know him as a person. I don't think I've ever met him. I've met a lot of people, but I don't.
Yeah, he wanted me to host on there. I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Ryan altered a video the day before the app launch. If it was to interfere with the app launch, I don't know. I mean, allegedly, in my opinion, Ryan, I'm sure, is capable of doing something like that. I can't speak on if he actually did or not.
Yeah, he was. And that's the thing you got to understand. He was hating on so many people. You kind of get lost in a sea of who's who after a while. The only reason the Dub thing comes up to my mind because I knew there's an active lawsuit, and allegedly, in my opinion, I was having to track down lawyers and that kind of thing to try and work it all out. So that's why I'm familiar with it.
I mean, it was just constant turmoil all the time.
That shit
Fight
ain't
with this
going
person,
nowhere.
lawsuits with this person. I'm getting sued. I'm internet all the time.
All right, y'all. I'm fixing to go and take some shit off and get some money. It's always nice. We'll holler at y'all. Bunch of bullshit. Tonight is the final episode, supposedly. I'll probably tune in. We'll holler at y'all.